preach unity, if at all we want to see the end of this insurrection. I have always said this, and I think this is time to say it again. In terms of, if we're talking about security, I think the time for decentralization is now. The power that the federal government wields as far as security is concerned is too much. And it would seem that even that power now is overwhelming, such that they don't even know what to do with the power again. Assign state governments with the task of security responsibilities. Yes, at federal government level, there are some powers that you cannot just take away. But let the security apparatus in the police, security operatives that you have, let them be responsible to state governments. Let state governments take charge. Let them take charge. A governor of a particular state will not be looking at while his state is burning, and the governor is crying to federal government to come and help. So what then is the duty and what then is the work of the state government? We had mentioned earlier, but I'm just going to chip in again, that religious leaders have a role to play. You find religious leaders being totally irresponsible and reckless with the comments that they make, knowing fully well the power that you wield as a religious leader, knowing fully well the hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions of people that listen to you and take your word as law. You need to be very careful. You need to be cautious of how you urge people on, because comments that you make in ways incite violence against perhaps other religions, and then you have this religion attacking this religion. Oh, they attacked us first. Oh, they attacked us first. So I think now is the time for our religious leaders to come together and preach peace, and tolerance is very important. So once again, I would say conclusively that I think we need there's never been a time to call for peace and to call for tolerance and to call for unity as now, using our voices, using our platforms to advocate for peace. Because at the end of the day, like I said, it's just turning and turning and turning, and Nigerians are just looking at who is the next person to fall victim.
I bet your eyes and ears are thrilled with music videos coming from Nigerian artists. You obviously notice the singer, the video vixens, and other talents. But what about the music director? Close your eyes, think about your favorite music video, and see if you can tell who directed it. Great if you can, sad if you can't. We're here to celebrate the brains behind the videos out there, and here are 5 top Nigerian music video directors. Number 1. Clarence Peters. He's a director, filmmaker, and cinematographer. The founder and chief executive officer of Capital Dream Pictures was involved in a mobile-sponsored music video for a documentary on AIDS in 1998. He directed 40 episodes of the TV series Everyday People. Peters has also shot a good number of documentaries, TV commercials, short films, and TV features. He has directed music videos for recording artists such as Dare, Durella, Wizkid, Seyi Shay, Burna Boy, Waje, Tubaba, Fino, Runtown, and Yemi Alade. Peters has won numerous awards for his works. Number 2. TG Omori. Also known as Boy Director, TG Omori is a Nigerian music video director and cinematographer. He started directing at 15 while overseeing stage plays at school and church. He began making videos a year later but took it up professionally at 18 after graduating from Pencil Film Institute. This made him the youngest professional filmmaker in Nigeria. He has worked with Olamide, Wizkid, Burna Boy, Techno, Kiss Daniel, Fireboy DML, Fowls, Timaya, Naira Marley, and many others.
So I put the Ferragamo when I pass it down. Put some Gucci on that booty cause she kill a man. That's why she don't want to go, she wanna stick around. But she still say that she love me cause I'm sexy. And I tell her that she lying, that she vexing. She be screaming, I be screaming, we be reckless. But I know that she be liking makeup sexy.
Number 3. Meji Alabi. This London-born Nigerian filmmaker, director, photographer, and producer has worked alongside Beyonce, Burna Boy, Wizkid, Davido, Tiwa Savage, Popcan, Goldlink, and Nasty C. He directed Shay Shay's Murder in 2014, a move that gave him the desired attention in Nigeria. Alabi also worked with Wizkid on his Made in Lagos album. He's a co-founder of JM Films with Jimmy Adesoya.
And I tell you my God, you know my style, you know big chance, then it's all up, eBay. If you say you get the man, then you wanna try, you could go die, baby. You've been a landslide for a long time, but then no one believe me. All up when I come back, tell you one try, but you do it if easy.
Number 4, Dami Twitch. His original name is Owolabi Oluwadamilola. Twitch started with photography in 2013 before going to full music production in 2017. That was the year he shot his first music video for Burna Boy and Yonda. He has gone on to shoot visuals for Fowls, Burna Boy, Olamide, Lil Kesh, Victor A.D., Simi, Peruzzi, Mayokun, Leah, and Davido. Number 5, HG2 Filmworks. Olaolu Olabode Folarin, also known as HG2 Filmworks, is a Nigerian-American music video director, graphic designer, entrepreneur, and cinematographer. Olabode began his production journey as a graphic designer and later went into full-time music video production in 2010. He has directed music videos for big-name artists like D'banj, Kiss Daniel, Dami Crane, Reminisce, Nice, and Scales. You will agree with me that these directors bend over backwards to churn out massive videos for our entertainment. And such, they deserve more than enough accolades for their contributions. So whenever you watch your favorite artist videos, always remember the men behind the scene.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu wins the All Progressive Congress presidential ticket, and former Minister of Science and Technology Ogbonnaya Onu questions the All Progressive Congress for not zoning its presidential ticket to the southeast. Well, this is Plus Politics. I am Mary Ann Okon. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has won the presidential ticket of the All Progressive Congress APC. He polled 1,271 votes to defeat other aspirants as the party's primaries happened in the Eagle Square in Abuja. He defeated Rotimi Amechi, who scored 316 votes, and the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, who got 235 votes. The presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress said on Wednesday that he did not expect to win the party's presidential primaries. He also said he holds no grudges against members of his party who walked against his candidature. Well, joining us to discuss this are political analyst Bola Oba, Babashola Adebuyi, and media strategist Alfred Okoro. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Mary Han.
Great. It's been a very interesting 24 hours, almost 24 hours, if you ask me. I mean, the presidential primary started yesterday, early, let's say mid-morning, and it took almost a whole day into another for the results to be read out. But I think we all were watching with keen interest. I mean, every single person had their eyes on the Eagle Square. I'm going to start with you, Bola. Was there any element of surprise for you, especially when the results were read, even at the point where certain persons were stepping down for the leader of the APC?
Not at all, to be very honest with you. Not at all, because I've always predicted or projected that an indirect primary would be paying to Bola Ahmed Tinubu's electoral capital. And the guy has built bridges for decades. He's been in building bridges since 1992. And you know what? He knows what it takes to win an election, especially an electoral college type of election. That is where when you put it into indirect election. So I've always projected that if a direct primaries were to be conducted, it would have been the vice president to lose. But in a scenario of an indirect primaries, which is more of an electoral college type electioneering system, I knew he was going to take it. The margin, I may not have.
I think that we're having connection issues there with you, Bola. Mr. Alba, I think we're having connection issues with you, so I'm going to toss this question to Alfred. Alfred, what stood out for you, especially, just like I asked him, was the candidate who, came up to say, well, they would have loved to, but they would step down for Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Again, the cameras were really great at, picking the body language and the demeanor of Mr. President, the Vice President, and so many other people who sat, behind that glass. But what really stood out for you, especially for someone who's looking from the outside in?
Well, just to even support what Mr. Bola said, I agree with him 100% in the sense that for indirect primaries, this is politics at play. This is not human sentiments, none of those. And if you look at it from that perspective, Senator Tinubu, or Bat, however we want to call him, has been building this over time. If you check it, how many people has he helped to get into office? There are countless people. Do you expect these people to turn their backs on him? So the mode of primaries that APC chose favored him, or when I don't know how they chose it, but there is no way, based on the capacity he's been building, for him to get to lose this. Because pretty much everybody there, one way or the other, has benefited from his generosity, or from his politics, or from his guidance, however you want to look at it. And there is no way. I wasn't even surprised. For me, at the end of the day, you could say, if you were looking at social media a few days back, you might think others had a chance. But if you understood politics, there is no way. Now, this is not the general election that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But like Mr. Bola said, this is indirect primaries. Mm-hmm. So you have to look at what was happening. Direct primaries, who knows? It's a toss-up. But for what happened yesterday, there was absolutely zero surprises. There might be speculation, but no surprises.
Babashola, you seem to be a bit surprised because the APC seemed to be very good at spinning stories. We saw all kinds of confusion, information coming from the chairman of the party saying that the president had endorsed an Ahmed Lawan. We also saw the Kogi State governor who was saying he will not step down for anyone except Mr. President asked him to. I mean, we saw all kinds of things spinning. We even at some point got some misinformation that the vice president may be stepping down for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but all of those things were some sorts of a social media spin. But here we are, and you seem to be a bit surprised. Why?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I want to congratulate Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu for winning the APC ticket to contest for the presidential election come 2023. Just like everyone has said, he has been building his political career since 1992, just like Alhaji Abubakar Atiku. So And today, he has finally gotten the ticket to contest for the position, the highest office in Nigeria. Now, I was not surprised. I was not surprised actually, except I've been deceiving myself. The truth is, if you are contesting for a position, there are some things you ought to have done that would have benefited a lot of people, a lot of political career in the country. Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu has been in this position for a very long time. If he was a governor for 8 years, he appointed a lot of people. He had been spending resources on a lot of people, a lot of things. We can also remember how he was able to fight in Lagos to get the resources of Lagos State local government fund that was held by the federal government. Now, the guy is contesting. He has the structure all over the country. He has the structure all over the country. A lot of people saw something in him, and he believed so much in himself. We cannot compare him with others. Let me use Professor Yemi Osinbajo. Professor Yemi Osinbajo became the vice president on a platter of gold. He was not a politician. He was appointed or nominated to be the vice president to President Muhammad Buhari. On being the vice president, he refused to build his own political structure. I cannot point to anything in Nigeria that I can say is the political impact of the vice president.
But I'm sorry, Babashola, let me just quickly come in there. I don't want to talk over you. You sound like this is unprecedented. Let's take you back down history. Former President Goodluck Jonathan was also not necessarily a politician per se. He was a career, let's say, public servant. Now, he rose from being a deputy governor to being a vice president and then a president. So when you sound like he was on a platter of gold, we can also refer to a Goodluck Jonathan as someone who has been lucky his whole political career. I mean, if the stars had aligned, maybe that could have been the case for Yemi Osinbajo.
They are totally different.
I beg your pardon.
They are totally different. Goodluck Jonathan was a deputy governor. Yes, maybe the political career. He became the governor. And before we knew it, he became the vice president in Nigeria. So you cannot compare Goodluck Jonathan with Professor Osinbajo. Now, we are talking of Professor Osinbajo, who was a lawyer defending his clients, going to court, doing all those things. I think the only political appointment he had was being a commissioner of justice in Lagos.
Well, Attorney General,
and
yes.
After, yes, being a commissioner, it was a career for him, not a political career per se. Now, all of a sudden, from nowhere, they said, okay, we are appointing Osinbajo to be the vice president to the nominated presidential candidate of party. So it is totally different. Now, it became the vice president. There is no political base, no structure, no political impact. Even wherever, what the guy has been for the past 7 years is to be supporting the president. And now, coming out to contest for the president.
Oh dear, I think we also,
did we lose him?
We've lost you there. Let me quickly toss now back to Bola. Bola, we lost. Okay, you've come back. Okay, great, go ahead.
Okay, truly, I actually stand by him in this. I wish he's the winner, but unfortunately, the truth has to be told. The political terrain, Professor Osinbajo is not it at all.
Well,
please, if I may, the way I actually want to look at this is, in support of what Mr. Shola is saying, is that this is completely different from the ex-president Goodluck. Because number one is that on whose platform is the VP running on? It would have been different if Senator Tinubu was not running and anointed the VP to run on his behalf like he ran as a VP. Because that's the political structure. You need a structure.
But
this is politics.
But Alfred, do you think that the vice president, out of the blues, just woke up because he had a vision from God to be the president? Do you not think that there had been the hand of Esau in this matter saying, well, I think that you should run, being that he's deputizing someone? Don't you think he got a nod of sorts to be where he was?
Well, That is up for speculation, because I personally, in my own capacity, I don't have any insider information, do not believe he woke up to run against his principle. But his challenge is, it doesn't change the fact that you're running against your principle, regardless of how we look at it. At the end of the day, we all know how he became the vice president of the country. I mean, he ran a general election. He ran a general election, don't get me wrong.
Let me quickly add this to what Alfred said. Hello?
Yes, go ahead, Bola.
Like the other two Pentecostal participants in that competition, he woke up on the wrong side of the bed one day and decided to run.
And you know this how?
Let's be brass knuckle honest with ourselves. One, the leader of the church where he worships and where he's a pastor, and he had once prophesied that a member of the church was going to rule Nigeria. Number one. Number two, and the reason why I want to believe that he woke up one day being conceited that the voice of God was telling him to run was the same thing that Tunde Bakare. This is the fourth occasion that Tunde Bakare would give the impression that he was chasing an evangelistic prophecy and would come out with what you see in Pentecostalism, not only in Nigeria. I witnessed it in England, and I've read so much about it in Latin America. These people don't feel remorseful. They have no contrition. So this one has missed the target. They will do another blind this. Apart from it, there was another pastor, there was another Pentecostal pastor in yesterday's this. So I'm sitting there now, knowing that I told a forum of the supporters of BP that they added me to about 6 months ago. If it was going to be a direct primaries, let's be very honest with ourselves, it would have garnered more traction than it did yesterday. But indirect primaries, especially in an environment where poverty has been weaponized and has been turned into a kind of bait for the delegates, he had no chances.
Okay.
In fact, I was even thinking when others were stepping down, it was going to step down. I did not even think Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Yemi Osinbajo will be contesting against each other. In fact, I was telling my friend yesterday that Yemi Osinbajo will have no choice than to step down. But I was surprised that the guy went ahead to contest.
Well, all right,
maybe because of an assurance.
All right, gentlemen, let's be orderly. Let me go back to the politics of it all. Let's talk about this Bola Ahmed Tinubu win, because yes, now he's the flag bearer of the APC. People will start hitting the numbers. People will start talking about what change can he bring to the country? What turnaround can we see? Is this going to be business as usual? Again, looking at all of the people who are stacked as flag bearers for other parties. I mean, we might not know the names of so many of them, but we have also on one hand an Atiku Abubakar. We have a Peter Obi somewhere in the corner. We also have a Kwankwaso in the NNPP. These are some of the candidates that we know who Tinubu will be up against. So I'm going to come back to you now, Alfred. What is the capital, or rather, what is the workability or the realistic aspects that a Tinubu win brings to these elections in itself?
You see, I'm going to actually even go a little further in this, because let's not confuse being a leader to being a good manager. You see, one of the things that we're going to look at, a leader builds a coalition. A leader appoints people. A leader sees things before others see it. A leader provides solution. Do I expect Bola Ahmed Tinubu to wake up every day running up and down? No, I expect him to appoint people to positions, square pegs to square holes, things like that. For me, I honestly believe this is APC's election to lose, simply because they did not break apart. If APC had broken apart in the primaries, that's a different thing. Because now, if we look at the whole picture, you can confidently say that PDP is going to have a problem in the Southeast. Now, take away the Southeast votes for PDP. That's going to Labour Party. I would say majority of it. Now, you divide it. Where are the votes coming from? Will the Southwest vote PDP? I doubt it. So it's the northern votes we're splitting. Who's going to have a problem? Who's not going to have a problem? I do not know, but general elections are different ballgames. Just like Mr. Bola said, there was no contest the moment this was an indirect primary. Now, on the capacity of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it depends on what angle you're looking at it. I see him as a leader. Whether he's the greatest leader or not is a different ballgame. But you can tell that this man knows how to build a coalition. This man knows how to build a team. This man knows how to empower people. Now, look at his contestants. If we look at Peter Obi, ex-governor Peter Obi, if you look at Kwankwaso, if you look at ex-VP Atiku, which of them compared, if you compare all four together, which of them would you say has a bigger base? Which of them would you say have a bigger disciple? Which of them would you say is a bigger maker of men in terms when politics is involved? When we're talking about this, who supports people running primaries? Who supports people in their own elections and all that? I think that's where it's going to come down to, the support of the people. Who builds a bigger tent for others to feed into? And at this point, I would say it's Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Okay.
It is election to lose.
Let me come back to you, Babashala. What are the consequences of a Tinubu win? This is a different way of asking the same question. Because many people would say, like he has said, he thinks that he can build a coalition. But then he also said in the same breath that being a leader and a good manager are two different things. Now, Nigeria does need leadership, but in also needing leadership, we need good managers. You see where everything is going, in the direction it is going. Insecurity, the economy, unemployment. I mean, the list is endless. What is the implication of a Tinubu win for this country as it is right now?
Okay. For Tinubu, I believe that majorly is health. There is no doubt that the man is not, there is no doubt that the man is not 100% healthy. Of course, there is not. But his health, all of us can say it, even if it's in the public domain. So the question is, will his health permit him to concentrate more on the job at hand? That's number one. Number two, who are the people that will be selected for position? Because being a leader requires a lot of things. It requires responsibility and accountability. If you appoint people to do a job and you don't have that strength to monitor, to require for accountability from them, definitely it's going to affect your government. That's number two. He has, when he was the governor of Lagos State, he was able to do some things, and the people will say, oh, he's the builder of Lagos State. And there are also a lot of accusations against Ahmed Tinubu on how he has bought the whole Lagos, on how he has all those things. So now, he needs to prove that, being the president of Nigeria, he needs to prove that come, I'm a plain man. I am not corrupt as any people, as you people have been calling me, and I'm ready to do what is necessary to bring the glory of Nigeria out. To make people believe that there is something in Nigeria that can attract people from abroad for a foreign investment and make Nigerians themselves believe in themselves. If Bola Tinubu fails in this aspect of doing the right thing, of fighting corruption, of introducing the true federalism he has been campaigning for, if he fails of introducing the restructuring he has been campaigning for me, he has only been saying something for the purpose of winning an election. We need true federalism in this country. We need what is called restructuring in this country.
I'm tempted to ask you this question, and I want you to quickly answer so I can go to Boloba. Just as you said, that if he's unable to, if that's the probability there, if he even gets to win the general elections, but then that probability is something that, I don't know, let me ask it as a question. Is it something that we can afford? Can we afford to toss a coin again as a country? Remember, I asked where we are now in 2022. Can we afford to try again and see, or should we be more deliberate? I'm asking this because President Buhari is somebody who tried to run for this office 4 times. The 4th time, he had the opportunity. He told us everything that we wanted to hear. He promised, he made very lofty promises. And I don't want to say anything but ask, has he been able to scratch the surface of all of those things? So should we be, going out on a limb again this time around?
Every politician you meet will tell you what you want to hear. It's a different ball game when they get to the office. Whether he is going to do it or not, we don't have a choice. We have Atiku, we have him, and we have Peter.
We do not have a choice, really?
Yeah, I'm going there. We don't have a choice because until they get there, until they get to the office, that we're able to say, oh, he said it and he did it. As far as I'm concerned, they are all promises. They are all promises, and promises, you cannot hold anybody for promising you anything. You can only hold them for owing you. So if we have failed in promises, it is promise. Okay. So you can't hold them. You can only use it against them. Maybe in the subsequent election.
All right, let me come to you.
You see, to even add to that. Okay. No.
Yeah, let me just quickly, I'll come back to you, Alfred. Let me quickly go to Bola. Bola, we see that the PDP is having closed-door meetings right now. As soon as they heard the win, we got reports that the PDP and, of course, the PDP governors, I beg your pardon, and the presidential candidate of the PDP were in closed-door meetings today. What do you think the strategy would be? I'm asking because judging from what Babashala is saying is that, well, maybe we don't have, our hands are tied. We just wait until the person gets into office, then we can decide if they're capable of doing what they've asked us to do. But what about the voter also preempting these politicians so that they do not feel that we really have our hands tied behind our backs?
This election, in the 2023 presidential elections, you are going to have 3 alumni of the Shehu Musa Yar'Adua's School of Politics. Plutocracy matched with kleptocracy, playing the advantage of weaponizing, of using poverty as a weapon against the electorate. Don't fool yourself. Atiku, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Kwankwaso, they were disciples of Shehu Musa Yar'Adua, and they were members of his PDM movement. If any one of my colleagues remembers. Now, if you look at the politics of Atiku and the politics of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and even the ostensibly the populist politics of Kwankwaso, we can see that the 2 most successful out of there are the 2 who have replicated what Shehu Musa Yar'Adua did, especially in the Southwest. When it came, I once had a personal encounter, a personal occasion with Baba Adedibu before he passed on. And I said, Baba Adedibu, how could a Shehu Musa Yar'Adua come all the way from Katsina and come down to Ibadan and Lagos and come and defeat the likes of Jakonde and some of the other greats of in Awolowo School of Politics. And you know what Baba Adedibu told me? Baba Adedibu told me in classical Oyo Yoruba, the which I will transliterate. I will endeavor to translate that the guy knew how to play politics with money. My brother Atiku and Bola Ahmed Tinubu today became the flag bearers of the two major political parties in Nigeria because they have always used money to build bridges.
So quickly, where does that leave us? Because we complain about the level of corruption, even under a government that had sworn that they were going to fight corruption. Where does that leave us? If we're buying votes at the party level, what happens to the general elections? In closing,
corruption is not a problem in Nigeria.
Is it?
Anywhere in the world, in any liberal democracy, there is corruption. You need a leader who can spin ideas there and create a team that can chase good ideas. You are not as corrupt as Southern Italy. You are not the last three out of the 4 governors of the state of Illinois in America are in prison. Buhari messed up our politics by making you people believe that corruption is not a problem. That is why under Buhari and the lack of creativity and value innovation, we are deeper in the mess.
Okay.
And he has eventually has to capitulate to corruption.
Okay.
Corruption is not a problem in Nigeria. Your problem is lack of leadership creativity and value innovation in leadership. Because Nigerians are entrepreneurially, we are so entrepreneurially powerful that when we see a good ball, we can chase and make good value of it.
All right, because we're running out of time. Quickly, Alfred, you wanted to chip in something. We need to wrap up.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
No, I actually agree a little bit of what Mr. Bola said along with what Mr. Shola said, because number one is that, yeah, I want to agree that corruption is not Nigeria's problem. Corruption is an extract of a major problem. Okay, so it's not our immediate problem. It's an extract. Something is leading towards that. I feel our biggest problem is vacuum of leadership. Now, if we talk about the issue, where really are we going, number one is that we don't run an ideology-based politics. Somebody can move from APC to PDP, from PDP to Labour, with zero consequence. So what really option do we have? We want to believe we have options. We have individuals that are running for power. None of them is running based on an ideology. Who's a conservative? Who's a liberal? Who's a moderate? We do not know. I believe our democracy is still too young. And number one is, let's not get caught up with this issue of instant gratification. Just like you mentioned, can we afford to? Why can't we afford to? Nothing happens automatically. It takes time. You have to build it. It's a question of, now, let's even get people to participate. We first have to start playing inclusive politics, whereby if somebody makes a promise, like Mr. Shola said, if somebody makes a promise and does not perform, punish him at the polls in the next election. We cannot always be in a hurry saying, we don't have time, we don't have time. Since when have we been saying this? Since 1999, who has ever paid politically for corruption? So if you ask me, at the end of the day, I would hope Nigeria wins. And by Nigeria winning, it's not just about who won. It's a question of, how did you win? Why did we vote for you? I also believe in protest votes, whereby rather than voting for these two people, let me vote for someone else to make you realize that, you know what, my vote counts. I don't think Nigeria will get fixed in this cycle.
That is why I will campaign for Peter Obi. I will campaign for Peter Obi in this round of election.
Okay, all right.
I really want Peter Obi to get more than 2 million.
Okay, we have to go. We have to go. And this is no. There's no room for campaigning on this show. Not today. I'll send you an invoice if you have to. Well, I want to say thank you, gentlemen. Time is not on our side. Bola Oba, Babashola Adebui, and Alfred Okolo, I want to appreciate you guys for being part of the conversation.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you all for talking with us. We will take a quick break, and when we come back, we will be looking at what one of the presidential aspirants, Ogbonnaya Onu, had to say about the issue of zoning in the APC. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. From the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid.
It's still Plus Politics. Now, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, a former Minister of Science and Technology, has questioned the All Progressive Congress APC over its failure to zone the 2023 presidential ticket to the southeast. Onu disclosed this yesterday at the Eagle Square while delivering his agenda to the party delegates just before the commencement of the voting at the presidential primaries. He asked, and I quote, "Where is the justice?" adding that he sacrificed his presidential ambition in the past just so two candidates from the Southwest could run. Take a listen.
Mr. President will be completing his tenure by 29th of May next year. I think, naturally, it should be somebody from the Southeast. I'm not saying this because I'm from the Southeast. Somebody from the Southeast that will now replace him. And that will give the opposite of South versus North and Christian versus Muslim. And it will bring stability to our nation. It will strengthen the unity of Nigeria. And I believe that this should have been done. And I personally, 23 years ago, I made a personal sacrifice when there were three parties and I held the presidential ticket of one of the three. But I had to let it go in order to solve a problem in the Southwest, to make sure that two Olus contested for the presidency. That head or tail, one will become a president. And that brought down tension in the country. And this is what would have happened if we allow the Southeast to, which is look at it. The Southwest has 8 years as president. 8 years as vice president. Can you, at the South, they have 8 years vice president and president. Where is the justice? Where is the justice?
Well, that's the question. Where is the justice? And I remember watching that, and there was a loud booing coming from the crowd of delegates who were representing every state in the federation. So I think the question that came to mind was, he was obviously making sense, but why was he getting that much apprehension from a group of delegates in a party that he belonged to?
Okay, so thank you very much. I think, good evening, viewers. I think that why I would hazard a guess that as to why that booing was happening, because it was more or less almost over in terms of the fact that this wasn't a place to begin to ask for justice. Yes, it was a place to agitate, show your agitation verbally, but it may not have much effect if you've not been planning. He made a lot of sense. In fact, a lot of things that he said was actually factual, especially for, if you look at every region coming out to, of course, agitate for that shift of power. We're talking about the supreme power now, as in terms of the real crux of what everybody's searching for. And he's thinking to himself, since 1999 that we became civilian democracy, we've had a northern president, we've had a south president, we've had a southwest president, and we don't have southeast president. And he, when the three parties merged to form APC, was critical. In fact, was one of the pillars of the AMPP who came together to form that party. But there's a lot of play that happens before you get to this point. And I'm guessing that that's the reason why that booing was happening. But if you think very deeply about it, it made a lot of sense, because it runs even much more deeper than that, down to the appointments, down to appointments at federal appointments, down to the local government distribution, down to as much as the security agencies, spread of security agencies. So, for instance, out of 16 heads of security agencies, I mean, you don't have any from Southeast extraction.
I want to take you on that, but ladies and gentlemen, Ihe Ibeji is a political analyst. Also joining us via Zoom is a legal practitioner, Obinna Chukwu. But Ihe, I want to take you on that. I have had this conversation over and over again about appointments, about people from the Southeast or even the South, leading or heading, being chief of army staff or naval staff. And they would tell you that we don't have a huge number of these men and women in those forces. And that you have more of, people from the north, the northeast, the northwest, the north central, in those areas. And that's why most of the time you see them rising to those positions. It's debatable. Yeah, it's debatable, but this is what they say. Also, for Anabunaya, some people would say that what he says or talks about as a sacrifice of sorts would be, so for some would be that he was rigged out of that office or that position. And so why is he saying that he sacrificed it, or is he trying to say that he was a Goodluck Jonathan in this instance?
Well, I mean, before every appointment is made, it's called positioning. So, I mean, every region positions themselves. I mean, for a region to understand the strategic nature of a handshake across very different divides, you need to begin to position yourselves. You need to position yourselves up to the point where you have fully top-ranked officers who can take over at the highest level of positions, highest level of offices. But then again, it also behoves on the president and the top office to appoint, make such appointments. So even if you position yourself up to that top rank and the president does not deem it necessary, you will not get that position. So, for instance, you have an IGP, for instance, who maybe has not gotten up to the level of a DIG, so to speak, and is going to be picked to be made an IG. What normally would happen is what? I mean, every other person who is above him
is retired.
Is retired. So that's how it works. So at the end of the day, it all boils down to not just the preference of the president, but that federal character and the equity, which is one of the things that we're talking about. So aside positioning, that also comes into play. The political evaluation and political strategizing in the power structure, it has to work that way. And so far, unfortunately, it hasn't worked very well for the Southeast. If you look at the spread of the political appointments within this circle, if I may, you look at the Northwest has 37. You look at North Central, 21. You look at Southwest, 64. You look at Northeast, 29. You look at South, 24. And you look at the Southeast, 15. So these are some of the things that you begin to look at, then you begin to put one or two together, and you ask yourself, okay, so where is the equity? And that's exactly, these are some of the things that bring the angers to what he's saying. But you also need to understand the fact that there is a role that is played, as I said earlier on, by the political class, by the presidency, and there's a role that's played by the region. The region needs to begin to bond together.
I was about to toss that question to you, Barrister Chukwu. We've heard the Southeast complain over and over again about being given the short end of the stick. Always, whether it be a government that is even under a South-South government or a Southwest government, the Southeast always seems to be getting the short end of the stick. And Ihe is also saying that maybe there's a death of, positioning and structuring that would put you in a position where you would be peaked for these offices, or even for the Southeast to be able to spread and say, well, it's our turn, and are able to also make sure that they get that turn. But what's your take?
Okay, first, thank you for having me. This has become a recurring thing in the Nigerian polity. I think, to me, this appears to be the closest that Southeast, or people from the Southeast have got into in terms of being the flag bearer of a ruling political party. Why did I say that? Because at least up to midnight or early hours of this morning, at least the winner of the APC primaries was not known until the votes started to roll by and the counting started. But for me, I would say that we need to de-emphasize this issue of every time or any time we are close to a political, saying, okay, let me be specific, the primaries for presidential election. You begin to hear politicians shout, mention one region or the other. I think we need to de-emphasize that. Let us, if what Nigeria wants to follow is to allow for the best candidate to emerge, we should completely take a dive into that and allow that to work. What that will now mean will be that whoever that will be elected or that will fly the ticket of a political party will be by merit. I don't understand why
but is there not also a loophole in that? Because you see, merit can also, one way or the other, put certain persons, in a corner. Again, merit can be that, oh, this guy is smart, is intelligent, but then how many people does he have lined up behind him? That's what pushes again, because politics is a game of numbers, not necessarily about sentiment. So you might be smart, you might be good, you might merit it, but then we don't give it to you because you don't have the numbers. So what happens then?
Marianne, what I'm saying is that I don't like this in one breath. The politicians will be shouting north and south, left zone to north and south. In another breath, you will see the politicians do exactly opposite. If the main aim, or maybe to encourage stability and inclusiveness, and Nigerians or the political parties decide to now go zoning, why don't we allow that zoning to work, or allow the zoning to get to the extreme? For instance, over from 1999 up to into this administration, the issue of zoning between North and South worked. until we got to the point where the zoning was again to come to the south. And looking at the south, you will see that the only region or zone that has not taken a shot at the presidency from 1999 till now is the southeast. Ordinarily, for equity and fair play, it should have been zoned like it was zoned in 1999 to the southwest. It should have been zoned to the southeast. What do we have? What we are hearing is north south, north south, north south. If we are zoning across the two regions, north and south, it therefore means that one particular region should not be allowed to produce the president at every given time.
Okay.
That's why I now said, if we want to do away with zoning, let us completely do away with zoning.
Okay.
And let it be, like as it were, survival of the fittest, or whoever, let the candidate that has the clout, the candidate that has the money. For instance, I know that whatever that will come out of this, particularly the two big political parties, the PDP and the APC, I can tell you that's not the will of the people.
Okay.
It is the will of money.
Okay.
Those that can be able to raise the millions, they are the ones that contested. I can even tell you, maybe it's by sheer luck that those that contested came from a particular region. Some came from the north, some came from the southeast, and some came. But if you look at them, you will see the whole thing is an assemblage of millionaires or billionaires in Nigeria.
All right.
That does not in any shape or form reflect Nigerians.
All right, let me come to Ihe because we are almost out of time. Ihe, where do we go from here? Because he's made very interesting points. It seems like it's a convenient, rhetoric to put out there every campaign season. How do we change the narrative going forward? Because we can't keep coming back here every election cycle.
I totally accept what he says when he speaks to meritocracy. But you see, we have 6 geopolitical zones and 774 local governments spread across the nation. And there's meritocracy that exists in all of that. How do we change the narrative? We need to look deep into the equitable distribution of political offices. So, I mean, the two positions, the two key parties, APC and PDP, have Southwest and the North. And then, incidentally, the Southeast has one in the Labour Party, even though it's not the front line. It's not considered front line, so to speak. But we need to begin to look at whoever is the winner must be magnanimous in victory and actually implement federal character. As for Dr. Obunaya's position, the region, the Southeast region, which I am from, must bond together really strongly and begin to reassert themselves now, as for the now. I would say you have a candidate already. We bond around him and we push for it. On the other hand, we speak with one voice. 7 years ago, APC flag bearer has started to plan. Yesterday, we saw governors from member Southwest states step down for him. He had done a handshake across the divide. We had about 3 or 4 candidates from Southeast extraction, and they all stood on the podium. Some stepped down for the Southwest candidate. No bonding together. These are very crucial points that we need to take to heart.
Well, unfortunately, time is not on our side, but we will revisit this conversation, of course, because campaign season is upon us, and there's a lot to talk about. But Ihe Ibeji is a political analyst, and Obinna Chukwu is a legal practitioner. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of the conversation. All right. Well, this is where we wrap up on the show today. It's been a very interesting 48 hours, if you ask me. But tomorrow is another day. We'll be talking for development. I am Mary Anacone. Have a good evening.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect them. If you no talk, then go beat you. Now 2,500 and they pay.
Nigeria, by extension, Africa, is faced with a lot of challenges. The growing youth population with little engagement, that is a ticking time bomb. We are a blessed people with diverse culture and highly cerebral minds who have a lot to say. And yes, we are talking. It is important we drive the right conversation that informs, inspires, influences thought and action. If we say there's beauty in our diversity, then let us embrace our diverse culture. We must continue to courageously be the voice of transformation as we are the hope for the future. Yesterday's conversations shape today. What are you saying to shape your tomorrow? We know you have a lot to say, and we are here to hear you.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's Tea Time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news that still affects us all. I am Osaiwa Mesale, and finally we have a full house today. Hello, Isi, Fumi, and Uti has joined us via Zoom. Let me start with Fumi. You've been busy.
I have.
How have you been?
I've been good. It's good to be here.
Yes, we're happy to have you back.
This is actually the first time I'm on set with her.
Oh, really?
Yes.
No, we just borrowed her. She's not us yet until she agrees to join us officially.
And I kept on talking about how tall she was. Azab and Uti, they would definitely get along just right, just fine. Totally.
How are you? How's work been?
It's been good.
Awesome. So any gist for us? What's been happening?
Let's go to this story first. I'll tell you later.
Isi, how are you?
Very well, thank you. You know when I walked in. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Maria Makiba Mama.
Oh, yes.
She's the African. Everything African.
I'm going Afrocentric today.
It's
yes,
good. It's
totally.
good.
Thank
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
So what happened today?
It's been a hectic one for me, and you know what I always say, we're back here, we do what we have to do, and you know, like Norma usually says, we don't look like what we've been through.
Absolutely.
So how will they know?
No, Allah. Uti Elu. Where is she? Uti, are you there? Okay. We'll try to find Uti later. So we're discussing, of course, now we have the final list. Primaries are over. We have the list of all the candidates. So we want to ask our fellow citizens, who should be the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? And that's our conversation today. And here's what we found as today's quote. This quote is rather long, so I'll take my time. Choose a leader who will invest in building bridges, not walls, books, not weapons, morality, not corruption, intellectualism and wisdom, not ignorance, stability, not fear, and terror, peace, not chaos, love, not hate, convergence, not segregation, tolerance, not discrimination, fairness, not hypocrisy. So, do we still have more substance, not superficiality, character, not immaturity, transparency, not secrecy, justice, not lawlessness, environmental improvement and preservation, not destruction, truth, not lies. Is a very, very long quote. All right, so the presidential primaries, as I'd mentioned earlier, it's already concluded, and the flag bearers across all political parties have emerged, and the 2023 elections are fast approaching, or is fast approaching, as things are beginning to take form. So we want to ask an important question. It's our Ladies' Night Out. So Uti, Isi, Fumi, and I are discussing who should be Nigeria's next president. And when we open our phone lines, we really love to hear what you have to say about this. But first, let's go and see what we found in the news. Stay with us. All right, National Donald Duck Day. On June 9th, each year commemorates the birthday of a funny animated cartoon character, Donald Duck. Made his first screen debut on the 9th of June in 1934 in The Wise Little Hen, usually wearing a sailor suit with a cap and a black or red bow tie. Donald Duck is most famous for his semi-intelligible speech, along with his mischievous and irritable personality. He has appeared in more films than any other Disney character. Donald was also declared in 2002 by TV Guide as one of the 50 greatest cartoon characters of all time. Donald Duck. Very, very irritable, but we love him anyway. All right, so let's quickly move on because we have a lot of stories in the news. Isi, let me start with you. What's your story?
Short, and it says basic education, Nigeria may not achieve global agenda by 2030. UNICEF laments. Yes, it is important for us to understand this, and the United Nations Children's Funds, in collaboration with foreign Commonwealth and Development Office in Nigeria, has stated that despite the progress made, Nigeria is not likely to achieve the global agenda of universal inclusiveness and equitable quality basic education for all school-age children by 2030. Basic education is supposed to be the lower level of education for individuals. Now, we have children who are out of school, and we also have children who are in the north that are also out of school. And according to the a research done, it says that we have children who are in the north not stepping up to par. They have a lower rate or lower literacy rate in comparison to those who are in the east, as well as Kwara State. So we all know that children in the east and in Kwara State are well educated, basically. So yes, it's important that we also pay attention to the children in the north, and of course this should, stem from the current insecurity that is currently going on in the north.
Moving on.
Why they say we can achieve it by 2030. We can if we put our minds to it.
Absolutely.
Conversation for another day.
Absolutely.
Because as far as I'm concerned, there's absolutely nothing impossible.
Exactly.
It's just the willpower to
and
do
the
it.
resources are there.
And
It's just to channel the resources.
It's just to channel the right
in
resources.
the right place.
Yes,
Exactly.
I think I skipped that part, which they insisted that for us to actually achieve it, they didn't say it wasn't possible, but for us to achieve this, that Nigeria has to be intentional and meet the demands of education. Yes.
Intentionality is the word. All right, so for me, your story.
It was about a bike drive. I saw it just on some platforms, what we call Okada. And I think he hit someone, and he was I mean, almost, when we talk about jungle justice, right? Yeah. And fortunately for him, I keep saying that probably his guardian angels were at work. The police were able to rescue him and, of course, deliver him from that jungle justice. But what really caught my attention was that, we have talked about jungle justice a whole lot of times, but still seeing it in today's world where you think that people are supposed to be more enlightened, but you can tell that the frustration that people are currently going through in the country. So it's like they're just looking for every avenue. I think that's the video. Yeah. Any avenue at all to unleash, because you think, okay, the person has done this. It's not going to bring this person back, and you even taking the law into your hands. I know in the past we've actually seen stories of people that we've turned out to be innocent. Maybe they accused them falsely of stealing something, exactly, and the next thing, but the person's already dead. So just seeing this, I guess what the person did was very terrible, but you taking the law into your hands, it doesn't solve the problem. Absolutely, that's it.
I keep wondering what was the speed, the speedometer reading on his bike? Because
did they look at it?
I am surprised.
Knock somebody to the point that the person died.
I am surprised.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
No, I'm saying I'm surprised you are asking about speed.
I'm saying that I am wondering what was the speed limit.
That's what she's saying. They don't.
As at the time he was riding that bike.
Okay,
that's what she. Okay, you were wondering. So she's saying that is not even
looking at it.
Because those guys,
I need to ride a bike to the point. Bike accident I know can be very bad.
Yes.
Well, usually bike accident you come out with a broken leg,
or something. Yeah.
But for the person to die instantly, so I'm wondering what
the
speed was
impact
much. Sometimes when you see them drive, I was saying it. I said they drive as if they have multiple lives. They have spare lives. Like, okay, after this one, I'll come.
Bike and do we have Uti now? Is Uti there, or we're still not having her? Okay, so
can you hear me?
Yeah, Uti, hi. Hello.
Hi. Good evening.
Hello. How are you?
How are you?
I'm okay.
We can see that work has arrested you today again. All right, so your story quickly.
So mine is a short one and another sad one in the face of all the current insecurity challenges that we're facing. So the headline says, 3 days after Owo massacre, gunmen kill 4 in Ondo. The story was unfolding, so I think now it's 6 people that have died. Wow. In the Sabo and Igba areas of the town of Owo. It says that the victims of the attack were tea sellers, commercial driver, and roadside traders who were shot sporadically by gunmen on 3 motorcycles. They opened fire. Basically, people were hit. Multiple reports have come in. Some people have claimed that they're cultists attacking a rival cult group. Other people have claimed, or rather, the police put out a brief statement who confirmed that the killings were by armed robbers who attempted to rob residents and traders in the area. So, as I said, it happened today. So the story is still unfolding. Not much information has been released beyond that, but just given what that town went through on Sunday, this is very disheartening to hear, and just amplifies the security challenges that we have in the country today.
Absolutely, that's really sad. When I saw it today, I said, now wow, within the space of how many days?
It's heartbreaking.
Very, very. All right, so my story quickly, there was a fraction of Labour Party, although I hear that the person, they have sent him warning letters, so he has stepped down. So there was a fraction, I think it was Peter Obi's former aide, I think his name is Diga Eze or 14 something. Yeah. So he had formed a fraction of the Labour Party and emerged as the presidential flag bearer, but I think that has been dissolved now. He's stepped down and all of that. But I just wanted to bring to the notice, to the fore, what I saw our, what I call him, veteran musician, Daddy Shoki say. He was saying that, it was really disheartening that now that we have someone that is considered to be credible. You would think that this would be the time where the Igbos would rally round, right, and come together and say, you know what, let us vote this person, let's put a stamp on this and all of that. All of a sudden, somebody is coming out to say he wants to be a flag bearer. because once you do that, you have already, it's even possible that his name might not have appeared on the ballot box. I'm just saying that, you see, every time when they're talking about the Easterners, right, there's always that part where people are always concerned about the Easterners actually truly supporting each other, right? So it's, when he was talking about it today, I said, okay, it would be nice to actually just share. And, so just in the course of the day, something then happened. The Alaba market people, they had shut down the market, saying that they were all going out. And it cannot be far-fetched that because now it seems like we have our own, right?
Yeah.
We have our own going for the highest position of authority in Nigeria.
Yes.
So the Alaba market had shut down so that all the market people could go to the INEC office in Ojo local government area to pick up their PVCs, only for them to be ambushed and attacked by hoodlums, So there was a woman that did a video showing bruises that there was stone throwing everywhere, weapons, whatever it was, and there was a lot of chaos. And the INEC officers said they didn't have machines or something like that. So there was a lot of chaos going on there. So the tension is really, really high. We are feeling that tension, right? Well, so I just wanted to say to Daddy Shoki that yes, it might seem like sometimes people are not supportive, of each other, but this then further now negated, that summation, because most people in Alaba area we know are the Igbo traders. Yes, so First Stack, Alaba, all those areas, you know that they are the Igbo traders. So for an Igbo man to shut down his market, you should know that
it's not a joke.
Yes, you should know that this is me saying, you know what, my support is coming out 100%. So I was really impressed by this, and I'm telling INEC now, in case they do not know, we are not about this drama. Please do not disenfranchise anybody that wants to exercise their rights, because even I am going tomorrow to go and transfer my PVC.
Likewise.
I'm going. We are all collecting our PVC.
We will.
On that note, let's take a break. I want to ask my ladies. I'm not talking today.
We are not talking today.
I want to ask them, who should be our next president? Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, according to a newspaper publication, politicians in Nigeria are generally fair weather friends, always in search of where their bread would be buttered. They do not have principles, and the political parties find it difficult to stay on track with purposeful ideologies. Now, what politicians do is play mind games with us in their flowing robes and position themselves strongly for quick wins. Now, politics, for most of them, is a full-time job, but they lack any visionary zeal and sense of purpose to take Nigeria to the promised land, which explains our current situation, motion without movement. Now, candidates have come forward with their parties, and it is up to the electorate to decide who should be Nigeria's next president. So in case you're wondering who the candidates are, so we picked out 4 prominent candidates. So there's Ahmed Tinubu, there's Atiku Abubakar, there's Peter Obi, and there's Rabiu Koko. So, we feel that this should be, the game would be amongst these 4 candidates. Now, please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at Wayshow Africa, one with the hashtag Wayshow. So since we have our guest co-anchor in this studio, let us give her the honors. You know, I like to throw people under the bus. Let us give her the honor. So, finally, right, the list is out. Yes, I was talking to you. Finally, the list is out for me, and We have Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we have Peter Obi, we have Atiku Abubakar, and we have Kokonso. Right? Even though people were thinking Kingsley Moghalu was going to win, but he lost his presidential.
That drama was a bit. It was plenty.
It was
drama.
It was plenty of drama.
Exactly.
But so let's leave it to those 4 candidates, right? You know, when you think of Nigeria, right now, what are the biggest challenges we have in Nigeria? We have economic challenges. We have healthcare challenges. Education is there. Infrastructure is there. What else would I say?
We have all the challenges.
Exactly. I was waiting for
let's not say everything. Okay. Nigeria is still one of the happiest places to be in
because we make ourselves happy.
So I'm thinking, right? So when you look at the candidates that have been presented to us, to say that these are the people that are the forerunners of the next presidential elections, right? Who do you think should be the next Nigerian president based on the list of the plethora of challenges that we have, that we think that this person should be able to at least, help take us out of the quagmire we're in?
Well,
see me using English today. I'm ready for you.
The grammar is blurring. But that's the thing, because there are other candidates, and somehow we seem to have focused on this 4. Why do we think that the person is among this 4? I know you said that they are the ones that probably have a lot, like maybe the following and all of that. But who no, you can't tell.
Let's not kid ourselves.
But that's where the problem lies.
Okay.
You see, the other day I was having a conversation on a group, and we're talking about this thing, and I realized that until the current mindset we have in Nigeria changes, the truth is a whole lot is not going to change, because there were the sentiments of, oh, this person has been there for a while, this person has played a very huge role in this party, oh, this other person. Of all the 4 you picked, if you want to say who should be the Nigeria's next, me, I should be Nigeria's next president. Come and vote for me. But my point is, at this time, it would be very important to call in to play track record, because what I've seen so far that has been playing out is the sentiments. People are not really focusing on what has this person done. And the beautiful thing about most of these candidates is the fact that they have actually played in some fields in the past. So we can actually use those fields that they have played to say, okay, based on what you did when you were in this role, in this position, what did you do then? Then we can use that to accurately judge, to say, of course, where they get in there, because ruling Nigeria is a whole different ballgame. But if you are able to use that track record, at least for a start, then you can say, okay, based on precedents, based on what has happened in the past, we can, to a large extent, present this person before, for this, and let's see what this person is able to do. But that's not what we see today. So as much as we would like to say, oh, this is the person that we think, right now what's coming to play is a whole lot of sentiment, is a whole lot of, forgive me, tribalism. It's more like, it's my person, it's from my side, I've known this person, or maybe those that have the biggest pockets, because we have also seen that come into play. And we were talking about it backstage when we talked about how with the economy currently, we may actually see more people sell their votes more than ever before, because people are hungry.
Yes, that's why
people are hungry. So if you come to a family, maybe, and you're talking about the hoodlums who attack. If you look at this, some of these people who are used to perpetrate certain things are not very educated. So it's very easy to sway them. Somebody was telling me about how it works with market women, that they will just, maybe the Yaloja, whatever they call them, the leader of the market will tell them that, is this symbol, that's what you should vote for. And if you don't do it in the market, there's going to be a penalty for that. So they don't know anything. They don't know, does this person, is it good for, and they're good to go. So for now, it's a whole lot. I will be very sincere with you. So, I keep saying that if anybody's really expecting a miracle from this 2023 forward, the person is going to have a long wait, because the change, but like I said, it's good we have started, because I love the awareness. I love the fact that people are talking. But interesting, do you know there are still some people that are not interested in getting their people?
They don't care.
Exactly.
Let me come to you, Isi, then I'll come to you, Uti. Isi, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, you want me to go to Uti? Uti.
I can go. The key thing here for me is the fact that when I listened to the quote for today, a few things struck my attention or resonated with me, and they were building bridges, morality, promoting morality in the land, stability, which is crucial to me, critical, peace, thriving in the land. Love. We should promote love. At least one of the candidates that actually stated that we need to promote love and not hate. Tolerance, religious tolerance, is so crucial right now in our country, in Nigeria. And we have fairness. The key thing is, do we have all of these currently in the people who we have presented? Do we?
It's a question. Uti, can you answer that question?
Absolutely not.
I don't have an answer to that question. In fact, I don't have any answers today. Mine is just to, first of all, you said you're focusing on 4 people. Please, there are plenty other parties. I think I like when Fumi talked about the fact that people have to realize that we need to start to change the narrative. And in everything that I have done up until this point, it's really about that narrative, because the narratives are powerful. We have been, so many narratives have been presented to us over the years, and we have bought those narratives. So it's important for us now, as awareness is growing, that we're also building awareness of the right things. We're making people see things from a different perspective.
Totally.
And I like that when this primary started to happen, I hope that Nigerians start to understand politics and understand that it's a game. Let me put it that way, as much as we don't want to hear it that way, right? It's a game, and it's a game about power.
Totally.
So as much as we all want change, and we all hope for the best, and we all pray for the best, we must be aware. We must be educated about the system. We must be educated about how the game of politics works. Because if we really, really want to see change, then that's what we need to understand. It's not enough for us to do social media politics. It's not enough for us to, like I think Issy said, that some people are still not interested. A lot of people are still not interested. There's still a lot of apathy out there, because people just believe that what will happen will happen. And we can see it even from the primaries, that the decisions, or the way you think that you are going to make the decision, is not the way the person next to you is going to make the decision. Some people are still going to vote with their stomachs, no matter what you say, because they got to eat now to survive the next 4 years.
Totally.
So there's going to be lots of different perspectives. But I think the first thing for me to say is, let me buck the trend. There are many other candidates, and I'm just going to run through a quick list, so that in case anybody is thinking, I don't want to vote for any of these 4, there are other people, some familiar names and some not so familiar names. So YPP, you have Prince Malik, Ado Ibrahim. We already know of Kwakwanso, but a name that I was surprised to see when I was looking at the list earlier today was Omoyele Sowore. So he's back again. Even in the midst of all the troubles that he's had over the years, he's still on that path with the African Action Congress. Another name I was surprised to see was Kola Abiola, of course, who is the son of MKO, with PRP, that's People's Redemption Party. There is SDP, Social Democratic Party. We have Prince Adewale Adebayo. And then we have the surprise one for me, which I think that the party is probably one of the ones that we're more familiar with on the show. ADC, where I think everybody just assumed that Kingsley Moghalu would get it, right? Would get the ticket. And out of nowhere, Dumebi Kachukwu, who is the brother, I believe, of Ibe Kachukwu, has taken that ticket. So if none of these 4 names strike your fancy for our viewers, then there are other parties out there and other people. And we need to, as one of our guests has said before in the past, we need to start to look beyond the party and start to look at each candidate themselves and what they bring to the table. I don't know that I agree so much with Fumi about track record, because if Nigeria itself is a big failed track record, so so anybody who's been part of the journey so far, I don't know how how to isolate track record.
I agree. Uti, I agree 100% with that track record thing, because that's the best way to help us try to at least eliminate some people out of the equation. And I like that you're reeling out all these names. But you see the sad reality, and I'm not one to lie to myself, Uti. The sad reality that we have in Nigeria today is that the game will be played amongst these 4 people, sadly, right? So we are not about all those, and we need to also wake up as Nigerians. Let's not fool ourselves. Yes, we want to change the narrative, but we also do not want to live in a fool's paradise. Let us stop kidding ourselves to think that because somebody somewhere that has one whatever, you know, has a what's it called, social media following and all of that, means that it automatically translates into, we should know where the game is played and play it well. So if I were to be...
That's exactly the point that I'm trying to make as well, that the narrative that we need to now start focusing on is the fact that, look, you are not going to get change moving the same players across the board, which is why I make the comment about track record, right? If you truly want change, then guys, it's not even the PVC narrative. You know it's a narrative. You know this thing you are shouting, PVC, PVC. At the end of the day, the whole 200 million plus people in this Nigeria is boiled down to these men. And you were not part of that decision.
No, so
now you have to make a decision out of the, I don't want to say the best of the worst, but out of the best of what you are given.
Absolutely. We have already agreed on this table that going forward, our narrative will not be go get your PVC, because that is a complete waste of time.
Thank you.
At the point of PVC, you're already too late. We saw it happen, right? Delegates that cannot even speak.
That's what I mean when I say changing the narrative.
Absolutely. So yeah, I understand that narrative, what you're saying. So delegates that cannot even spell their names, delegates that don't even know what is what, they just come, they tell you, okay, help me write it. It is people that are writing on their behalf. Is it those delegates that will decide who? So you need to understand that everybody knows now that this game is not in a function of PVC. It is a function of party participation. That you go into a political party, you infiltrate those parties.
Exactly.
So my point, back to what I was saying, that when you were reeling out all those other parties, what is their structure?
No, but
what? No,
yes.
we need to. So,
but you see what you're saying.
So you see,
yes.
if you truly want to fight something, if you want to change something, everybody must be willing. And this is why I must applaud Professor Patutomi. Once Peter Obi came into Labour Party, he dropped his own personal ambition, because he knew that this person had a lot more credibility, and he had more. He had a lot more mileage than him. So he brought down his own personal ambition. So for me, if we say we want to start to change this track record, can we have all these small mushroom parties come together and say, you know what, let us all drop and see who is the most credible amongst all of us, and we put for that person. That is the only way things will change. But if we continue like this and say, oh, there are other parties to choose from, we are on a long thing, because guess what? Some of them will not even have one vote.
Yes. But that's what we're trying to say, because now you're talking about these 4 parties. But there was a time we had just 2 parties. But now today you can actually say that, oh, there are actually 4 strong contenders. But there was a time we just had 2, and it was like we just had these 2 choices, and oh, there's another party. But that's what we're saying, because as much as these other parties may not necessarily be so strong, which I think is also a function of how they operate, because no party becomes strong overnight. Like you said, it's about the structures, what you put in place, and the candidates, what you're able to push out. You know, I remember when before the primaries, some of the candidates that were supposedly trying to run for president, I remember one of the groups I just joined just to observe what was going on. And I observed some certain things that were very basic. Because this truth about it is, when it comes to politics, is also a matter of top of mind awareness.
Yes.
When people hear about you. So if you say you want to do something and nobody is hearing about it, nobody knows about it, like you just said, some of those names that she called, nobody knows them. And you say you want to come and rule. What country are you? So that's it. So the reason we're hearing some of these names today is because those are the names that some people know. And not just that they know them today, they've known them for the past. And you said something very striking, talking about infiltration. You know, it's something very critical. In fact, I was discussing that earlier. It's something very critical, because you can't just come from nowhere and say, oh, I want to come and do something. Who knows you? Who was, I mean, what have you done? And the people that are going to vote for you, the reason people are so about the current flag bearer for Labour Party is because, to a large extent, at least he had a voice somewhere. He's coming from somewhere. And that's why I also talk about precedent, like, where are you coming from? And this aspirant, it may not necessarily even be in the public sector, because people think that, okay, for you to run for president, you have to go local government chairman, senator, something. If we all wait for that. Whether it's in the private or public sector, at least let's look at something that has been done. Of course, they couldn't have scored 100%, but you know, it's like
let's take a break. Yeah, it will make sense to have. I actually I'm with you on that track record thing, because right now, let's take a break. We'll be right back. All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, if you just tuned in, it's our ladies' night out, and we are asking you who should be Nigeria's next president, right? Please, let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at WayShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WayShow. Our phone line is now open. The number to call is 07025007749. That's the number to call. Remember to turn off the volume of your television set so we can hear ourselves. So, I mean... I like track record, and I want to stay on track record. But you see, where we are right now, and I need us to be very honest with ourselves, I do not believe that the change that we seek would happen between now and 2023. In fact, I'm actually even extending it beyond 2027. So if we get things right, I'm thinking the elections after 2027, that would be 2031, right?
Yeah.
That is probably when we might actually see the kinds of leaders that we want to, because by then we would have had time, to, be involved in the political structure of every single party. So be it a known party or an unknown party, but we are involved in those political structure, right? So for me, I'm just thinking in my head, right? Now that we are where we are, because it's like we're back to 2015, where we were stuck with the devil and the deep blue sea. That's the reality. It's a reality, right? So, but I know people are running away from calling names or whatever, but let me take our first caller for the evening. Youngest old man, you're live.
Good evening.
Hi.
How are you?
We are good, oh, fine.
Well, I'm chilling against all odds, despite the pain the country is pushing us into. Every day we keep on losing hope, but there's still hope in the no hope situation.
Absolutely.
However, I think your topic today is quite sensitive, and I want to take it from a clear perspective of try your best and leave the rest for God. Because basically, you see, I still have full respect for the cabals. Their strength and energy and that mindset of getting what they want is still there. However, I still believe on the supreme being that can metaphorically change things from the horizontal concept to a different perspective overnight. Oh boy, see English.
I'm telling you.
So I want you to understand that I still believe in the power of the supreme being. However, let's do our best. Every youth today knows that we've been duped. Our hope is coming short every day. However, go get your PVC. Try for the first time in your life to vote. You see, now, currently now, for me, I've personally decided to vote on candidacy. I have somebody I have in mind to vote, and that's the person I'm going to vote. As a matter of fact, I was at the time I lost hope in our political whatever. But this time I'm bringing interest, and so, I want to watch every YouTube.
Youngest old man is the person. Don't mention the name, but is the person on our list of the 4?
Yes.
Okay, that's all we need to know.
And even for you to understand that that person has something to offer, the forces are already in his case, or on his case, or whatever the English is. Pardon it. But for me, I know that even if I don't do anything that day, I could just go vote and make my conscience believe say I know who's supposed to change this country. But if God allow him he no win. Make I no say yes. Me, I know say we dey inside trouble and I have the solution.
Thank
and
you.
I've done what I need to do.
Absolutely.
Any day we go won't come out from the hands of Pharaoh, then we are good to go. That is just it. And I'm looking at him now. Thank you for even showing that picture, Jerry. I know my person, but he swear one day God will hear our cry.
Amen. Thank you so much. So you see, the reason I asked youngest old man that question, I can tell you for free.
Yeah.
That the people, the sway vote is amongst these 4 people. So we know they dance around the bush. All that list where Uti they list now for her pocket. But Uti, let me come to you.
Me and my pocket, what do you want to ask?
But you see, I was saying that we are back to 2015, where we are almost at that point where it seems like we're picking between the devil and the deep blue sea, right?
Yeah.
So what can we do differently, right? So and that's where I think I agree with that track record that you were talking about, because if you look at these candidates, right? I mean, some you would know that yes, they have some track record that, you know, even the people around them are afraid of them. Say if this person enter power, no more chopping for us, you know. But I mean, I don't know. Let me not talk too much. Uti.
So let me tell you why I read out those parties. And I still stick to, you know me, I stick to my narrative. We need to start to change the way we think about politics. I like when Fumi said we had 2 parties. Let me burst your bubble. We still have 2 parties, whether you put 4 people up on the screen or not. Let me help you burst it. But the reality for me is we need to start, you know, every time, even when our last caller was speaking, he made a lot of references to eventually change will happen. We hope, we pray. All of these things are fantastic, but we need to start to learn what we need to do. And you know why these parties are important? We have a lot of candidates. Everybody's talking politics now.
Yeah.
2023, before the year is over, would have moved on. It happened in 2015, it happened in 2019, it will happen again next year in 2023. We will accept our lot and we will move on.
Absolutely.
Right? A lot of players come round. Every 4 years they pop up like a penny, they make noise, they try to win,
about those players.
And they go back.
Absolutely.
Now, the role for me that
Uti,
these
hold on. Let me just quickly
required...
take a caller, then I'll come back to you. Okay. Hold your thoughts. Francis from Jos.
Hello?
You're live.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello. I greet all of you.
Hi.
I'm so happy for what people have just discussing today.
Thank you.
You are just telling Nigeria what we're supposed to do. Everybody, even power know that P2B is the best candidate for Nigeria.
Okay.
And it's just that they want to marginalize them. And you people want to urge you to continue to tell people. It is not all about this, the money choice. They are not, these people in PDP and APC, they just use money to buy people. And we in Nigeria are supposed to know that. These people using money to buy people who have nothing to do for us. They don't go on this one who has a very good vision. The political tactics here is campaign something first. Check his antecedents. He's better than anybody. I'm from Jos. I'm not an Igbo man, but if a good person, even me, I will vote. If my vote is with me and my family, will go to be. You people should continue to tell people the good person, so that Nigeria will change. We will not continue to be in this darkness.
All right.
Continue to be like this.
Thank you, Francis. Thank you, Francis.
God bless you all.
Thank you, Francis. So, Uti, you wanted to complete your thoughts quickly.
Yeah, so, I mean, the understanding of what these parties are supposed to do, the concept of having a shadow government, the concept of having, we keep saying, who is going to question the government? Who is going to stand up to the authorities? We have all these questions. We ask them all the time. Do we have rights to speak up? This, that. The concept of having a shadow government, of having parties that are able to sit and critique what our government is showing. You know, these people, you say you want track record. Have track record in a role. Have track record to say, you know what, it's not when you are now the ticket party. I see that now that the primaries are over, people are starting to release their agendas from 20 points to 100 points, all of these wonderful promises. But there's something that happens in between. Are you there questioning what the leadership is doing? Are you there showing us that you have an intent, a positive intent for change for Nigeria? That's what these people need to be doing. So it's not about whether or not they're going to get voted for today. It's about how you build this present. So when you say 2031, those people that you're waiting for in 2031, what should they be doing now?
Yeah. Hold that
and that's
thought.
what these parties are for.
Thank you. Hold that thought. We'll come to that. I have a caller. Charles from Port Harcourt, you're live.
All right, good evening, Wa.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Uti. Uti, I disagree with you. I disagree with you with some of the things you said regarding somebody not having a track record. You say you don't believe in track record. Please, there's need for a track record because we need to know where you're coming from. There are some people that are, call them jokers. They just come and start telling us something, and we need to know where you're coming from. Now, back to the question of the day, the topic of the day. The incoming president of this country, whoever it might be, have a lot of job to do. This country is in a very terrible mess. The economy is in a very bad shape. The insecurity thing is a very big one. I think the most important problem, and the basic problem of this country right now is the issue of insecurity. And you quite agree with me that there's a correlation between insecurity and the economy. Because of the economy is very bad, so you have a lot of insecurity. And I want to focus on the economy. Now, having looked at those 4 people that you brought in there, I would want to go with Peter Obi because I feel that he has the capacity to want to do that. And I want to say here that I wouldn't want people to be discouraged about the election not counting, vote not counting. This time around, I believe strongly that the vote is going to count. I was listening to Mike Igini the other day, the resident electoral commissioner of Akwa Ibom State. It's one of the direct officers there. He was saying something that people have not really taken time to study the new electoral act, which actually gave me a lot of confidence. You see, most of all these our politicians, they are just busy jumping up and down. They don't really taking time to go and study that electoral act. They think it's business as usual, but some of them will be highly disappointed. The only thing that I'm going to say to the youth is that people should go get their PVC. I've dusted mine already because I have mine since 2011. I've dusted it. I'm waiting. They should not be discouraged. They should get prepared, vote, and your vote is definitely going to count because of the new amendments in the Electoral Act.
Absolutely.
That's my take this evening.
Thank you so much.
Ladies.
Thank you so much. For me.
So what for me is warming up. I just want to make it clear. Maybe misunderstood my first point. I didn't say track record. There's nobody that comes into a job where you don't look at their experience. What I said is, when you talk about track record for these sets of people, they have been part of the game till today. So when you say, what have you done? Nigeria is where we are today now. We all don't like where Nigeria is. All of you are part of getting us here. So please, what is magical in the track record that you want to see now that's going to change it? That's my point. Okay. Are you experienced that you fine? But let's not die at the altar of track record, because if the track record was so fantastic, we won't be where we are in Nigeria today. None of these people are new players.
No, for me, sorry. Yes. I have a caller, sorry. Today, not today. Jerry from Jos, you're live.
Okay. I just want to encourage the youths in Nigeria, in all parts of Nigeria, that our destiny is in our hands. Yeah. If we get our PVCs, we will chase these old people that have been recycled over and over again. I'm encouraging youths from all over, let us get our PVCs and take our destinies in our hands. It is not just for us, but for generations yet unborn. I give you guys kudos for this beautiful program. It's Jerry Gada from Jos.
Thank you so much, Jerry.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jerry. Go ahead.
If I may want to say something, but you look like you want to say something. Do you want to say anything?
She has a lot of that.
I do understand what she was trying to say, but what I was trying to say about the track record, which I have to go back to again, is it's not just about whether what they did got us here. I mean, we're talking about in their little world. So whether it's a private sector, whether it's public sector, what were they able to deliver there? Of course, you still can compare it to Nigeria because like one of the callers said, we're in a very serious situation. And I keep saying that as much as we even want to maybe switch the system and bring in somebody else that is totally different from, as the last caller said, the recycled people, let's also not expect a miracle because we didn't get here overnight. The change is not going to happen overnight. But what I would now say is it is important. Like I said, I like the awakening. I like the way awareness, the way people are all get your PVC and all of that. So it would be good if we start laying the foundation, because even like Owa said, even though it's still 2031 or 2027, if we don't build on what has, because that's what has been happening with successive.
Absolutely. Sorry, but we have
another caller.
Hi, you're live. Good evening.
Hello?
Hi, good evening. You're live. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Arthur.
I love your program,
Thank you.
And the program is very, very fantastic. The issue I want to bring on is this. Some of our people, they don't want to get their TV. This electoral act my brother is talking about, it gives room for we young guys to vote this time around. It's not just as usual anymore. Please, I'm begging everybody, every young Nigerian, we don't need all these old things in the television anymore. The only guy that has right to it will be. Let us, it's not that I'm from Anambra, I'm not from Anambra, but I've seen what this young man is doing.
Thank you so much, Arthur. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So I think the evening, thank you, Arthur. The evening seems to be carrying, what's it called? Peter Obi seems to be winning the evening. But let's take some comments. We have some comments. Someone says, Tinubu is the next president. Take it from me as someone from the north. We have two zones in Nigeria with the highest vote, northwest and southwest. So we don't know Peter Obi in the north. So he says we know Tinubu. And then says breaking news that the gunmen allegedly that attacked the church have been arrested. Well
done.
We'll confirm that. But you're going to say? Quickly. Quickly.
Peace. It says, good evening, my dear beautiful sisters of What Are You Saying? #ways. The question is, who should be Nigeria's next president? In a nutshell, we have so many presidential aspirants and so many parties. I was reading the manifesto of one of the final four, and to me, that is what all Nigerians need urgently. If that particular person has good intentions for Nigeria and his manifesto is genuine, then he is good to go. To round up this comment, let all Nigerians pray hard for God to reveal the right person to vote for. We do not need to make a mistake again in 2023. We have suffered enough and cannot afford to suffer again. We are not going back to Egypt again. My name is Daniel Ilo. Thank you.
So we have another caller. I think this should be our final caller for the evening. Hello, you're live. Gift from Port Harcourt.
Hello, Gift. Good evening. My name is Gift.
Thank you for calling. Go ahead, you're live. Hi, good evening.
Okay. I've been following the program for some time. I like what you ladies are doing.
Thank you.
So, about the topic of today, I think Peter Obi will be a very good president. He will do a very good job considering the economy and the way the things are going. The government, the debt that the government are owing. Peter Obi, considering his track record too, when he was in Anambra State as a governor, I think he's going to do a good job to take this economy of this country to the next level.
Thank you.
That's my own submission. Thank you very much.
All right. Uti, you have a comment then for me?
So my comment says, hi guys, please let's get these candidates engaged and regularly to find out their agenda for Nigeria and let Nigerians ask them questions that should be answered. I don't mind coming back to vote. Thank you. That's from Chisom.
Thank you, Chisom. I think Chisom is somewhere outside the country. We don't know where. But people actually would be willing to vote. We are hoping to get them, to start to speak with each of the candidates, right? We might probably take Uti's list and reach out to all of them. So hopefully they come on the show. But we have a lot of questions to ask. But in summary, right, if you were to choose a leader, who do you think, describe your ideal president for the next 8 years, because usually they don't do 4 years, they will finish 2 terms, right? So who would you describe as your next president for the next 8 years? You don't have to mention their names, just describe like in a minute, one each. Who is going first?
For me.
I would say someone who is willing to get their hands dirty, because there's a whole lot of work to do. And it has to be someone who is not just intelligent, but able to apply that intelligence to get the job done, because we were literally trying to list out the different areas. And I was saying something that let's also not expect a miracle overnight. What the person can do is set the foundation, because the mistake we've seen in the past is one government comes, overthrows what the next government did, and you can't do some certain things in just 4 or even 8 years. It has to be successive. Exactly. I think that's the word, the blueprint. So it has to be someone who is tough, and who can actually, because there's a whole lot of control, I mean, there are different, they call them cabals, controlling different things. So the person needs to be someone with a backbone and with enough, would I say, courage now to withstand the storm that is definitely coming.
And it will come.
It is coming. Oh, it is.
For me, quickly, I would say one name. We had somebody like that in Ghana, and the person did a good job of it. And before he died, that's Jerry Rawlings. He did a fantastic job of cleaning the slate and making Ghana great. So if we can get somebody like that in Nigeria, believe it or not, he wasn't even scared to work on eggshells. He just broke all the eggs, basically. So if we can get somebody like that, we'll be fine.
Okay. That is a long order. Uti.
Yes, but it's the truth.
Uti, quickly in a minute.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think that, I mean, Fumi has summarized it. I would just say 2 words. I'm just looking for a benevolent dictator, someone that's going to be a strict parent. Nigerians are not looking for, the problems we have today is not going to take, what will I call it now? It's not going to take logical solutions. It's going to take groundbreaking, shifting. It's going to take fighting institutions. It's going to take fighting mindsets, fighting people, whether you want to call them cabals or not. I mean, just even the people that, are around them, people that are in the system today. So someone who's ready for a fight, who takes no prisoners, who, why I say benevolent dictators, because you need someone who's a strong parent, somebody who realizes that, look, I know what's best for you. I want to do what's best for you. You may not agree with me now, but in the long run, you see that there was a method to my madness, and there was a reason why I did it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with everyone. Even though, yes, the ideal thing that EC's asked for, because people have said it in several corners that, yes, we just need certain people to just be out of the picture for us to have a better Nigeria. But I just wanted to say that, you see, my idea of, based on what I've seen with Nigeria, getting your hands dirty, and you must be willing to work with these people that are already on ground. Because let me tell you something, there's a difference, right? So you must be willing to find something. There's always where you can hold them by the balls, that everything they would,
exercise control.
Yes. So that's, and be willing to change certain structures that even after you are gone, there will be something that will continue to live on. And we don't now have to starting all over again. There's a complete blueprint for where we're going. But we're going to keep talking about this because it's the season. All right, so before we go, ensure you follow us on Instagram at Wayshow Africa. You can interact with us further, drop a comment, and more importantly, follow all our engagements on social media, like, share, and invite your families and friends to watch and follow the conversation. I forgot to thank my ladies. Thank you so much, EC, Fumi, and Uti. Now, if you missed today's quote, it's a very long quote, but I need you to follow this. Choose a leader who will invest in building bridges, not walls, books, not weapons, morality, not corruption, intellectualism and wisdom, not ignorance, stability, not fear and terror, peace, not chaos, love, not hate, convergence, but not segregation, tolerance, not discrimination, fairness, not hypocrisy, substance, not superficiality, character, not immaturity, transparency, not secrecy, justice, not lawlessness, environmental improvement and preservation, not destruction, truth, not lies. These are the kinds of quality that we need to start looking out for in the kinds of leaders that lead us in this country. We'll see you guys live at 8 p.m. tomorrow as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
Over a decade ago, I'd start my day like this. I was alone. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to work. I had no interest in socializing. I had my phones off most times. I used to feel really sad. I'd ask my mom what was wrong with me, and she'd say, "You're just sad, don't worry, you get over it." But was I truly sad? This is TW Lounge. I'll be joined by my sisters and a clinical psychologist who would actually answer that question. Be right back in a minute. Welcome back to the lounge. Thankfully, I don't need this anymore. It's 12 years later, and I've been joined in the lounge by my sisters and a trained psychologist who would actually answer my first question. Was I depressed?
Please give me the wine.
Well-
What is that? Whatever it is, just give me that one first. This is the lounge. You can take one like a sister.
Okay, now.
Forgive me.
Yes, you were, because you mentioned some of the symptoms of depression.
Okay.
You know, like saying that you didn't want to be with anybody.
Okay, let me introduce you first. This is Pamela Odoka. She's a trained clinical psychologist, and she's here with us today to educate us about the difference between what we call in Nigeria sadness and depression, which can actually be a clinical condition.
Where did you find
go ahead.
Pamela? You guys, I mean,
We exist, oh. Clinical psychologists exist. They don't just look for us, but we are here. At least you can see me live. I'm here.
And you're needed desperately.
Yes. Yeah, so I imagine. Yeah, but it's real. It's real. We are here. We
So
are
what
here.
do you think? What do you think?
here.
You think I was depressed?
well, I mean, the good thing about some of us is that we just assume things. I just believe that if somebody has been sad, you don't know what the person is being sad about, and you say, get out of it. You know what I mean? So I think maybe it's a consistent sadness.
Yes.
What do you think?
know? I think there's a loneliness that is attached to being depressed. I say that because I'm given to melancholy, and I don't consider it the depression. I just think sometimes I'm just sad because there are things that aren't in place fully. I may not be able to put my finger on it, but I know it's there. And so for that period, I'm melancholy, trying to sort of figure out, and in as much as I may not talk to people, I don't totally cut myself off. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people are given to melancholy.
Do you think melancholy and depression?
Well, I don't know
Sounds
if to
like
call
similar.
it. I don't know if to call it depression. Can you call it depression yourself, or someone like you needs to treat me to be able to say yes, you are depressed, not sad? Can I say it myself that I'm depressed?
People use the word loosely. Yes, just use it loosely. Or I'm depressed. Even when they are sad, even when they are frustrated, some things are not going right, like she said, and you are frustrated about it. You are sad. You want this thing to be better. And maybe you want to make progress. You're not making progress at the speed you want, so you're frustrated. And you say, oh, I'm depressed about this. No, but depression, it's like having a headache. You know, you have a headache. You have to now know which one. Is it a migraine headache? Is it tension headache and stuff like that? But the bottom line is I have a headache. Depression is a perpetual state of sadness for a long period of time. So you were near it.
1 day, 2 days?
No.
Exactly.
For a long time, maybe 3 months, 6 months. You know, it has to be.
So I can't be depressed in 1 month if I'm just sad all day, 31 days in the month.
If you're all sad, you know, apart from the sadness,
yes,
then the things that used to give you pleasure, you lose interest in them.
Okay.
Like maybe you're a party person, and they say, okay, auntie is having maybe a 50th birthday party, or maybe there's a celebration going on, you're not interested in it. They'll be like, what's that? And it does not mean that if you say you're not going for a party, just one off, they say, oh, depression. No. You know, it's like you lose interest. Everything that used to give you joy, excitement, happiness, you lose interest in them. And then you now have this feeling of hopelessness or worthlessness. You amount to nothing, the future is bleak, you know, and then you have a poor sleep pattern. So all these are symptoms of depression.
Are there different types? You know, like you said with the headache, there's a migraine, there's a tension headache. Are there different types of depression?
Yes.
Because you have like women who've had babies and
that's postpartum.
Yes,
that's postpartum depression. You know, after delivery, you're just like, what have I just done? What's this? Who's this one? I have to be responsible for another person. So, some of us can cope with that. And then it triggers.
Is it every woman that kills her child that is depressed? Because people can hide under anything. Is it every child? Does that mean that she's... I just want to know.
That's why there's assessment.
Okay.
Because it's been reported that most women that do that have postpartum. So not everybody said. That's why you have assessment for each case. You don't just generalize. Even like she was talking about different types of depression. You know, we have depression in stages. We have the mild, we have the moderate, and we have the severe depression. That's why you can see somebody just being sad, just being depressed, and he's not thinking about suicide, or he doesn't have suicide ideation, or...
It looks to me like if someone wants to say something.
Yeah. I've been looking and thinking and saying to myself that, you know how we are, stiff upper lip.
Yeah.
Like, you can be depressed, but you force yourself to do things.
That's person. There's something we call...
can be depressed, and yet you force yourself to do things. For example, you know you have to go to work, so you'll get... There's a discipline that you have, which forces you, you socialize, and people look at you, which is why I think, you see people, I say, but they didn't look as if there was anything wrong, and then they've thrown themselves out of the window.
Yes. Now, there's something we call smiling depression. Oh. That's what you're trying to describe now. You put up a facade.
That's your own term?
Yeah. No, it's a real term. It's a medical term. It's psychological.
Smiling depression.
Yeah, smiling. You know, you're going through like hell inside, but you're like...
But that makes it very dangerous, doesn't it?
Yes, that is why, you know. So, and then you are in denial of what you're going through. And then because you have tried to talk to somebody and the person does not believe what you're going through, or they tell you snap out of it, or tell you go and pray about it, you're like, let me just stay with this.
I was coming to that. That whole go and pray about it thing that we do in Nigeria. Is that,
we don't
is
get
that
depressed
reasonable?
It's
prayer work, though?
No, prayer works.
It's a condition.
Prayer works, but it's not everything. You know, you don't use a spiritual solution for a physical problem, a problem that you can just solve using therapy. Then you now sit down and praying about it. You can pray that your therapy works. You can pray that the medication works. Yeah, but you don't pray off treatment for the issue.
I have a point of view, and that is that a lot of depression stems from a spiritual emptiness.
Thank you.
No,
so yes, I'm saying a lot because when I think about these things and I look at people and listen to people, it's as if there's a sense of a lack of purpose.
Is that the hopelessness?
That drives, you know, that unworthiness, a lack of purpose. Because if you have, you know the Nigerian expression, if you're up at doing, if you're up at doing, you know, there's no, it's as if there's, yes, you're feeling sad, but you're occupying your time.
When you occupy your time, when you have depression, it's something we call burnout. At the end of the day, you will break down.
So you have to treat this.
I have to treat
very
it.
Busy. I was running 2 businesses at the time, so that didn't work. I was very busy. I was having to do social events with the smile on my face.
Yes.
And I did try to commit suicide.
Yeah.
So
I took a whole bottle of paracetamol.
No, you know what you talk about. How do you get to the points that you now know? How do you ever know?
How do you know that's
How do you ever know?
You wouldn't know you might not know it's depression, you might not have a name for it. But you will know that something is wrong with you. Right. You are not sleeping well. Either you are sleeping too much or sleeping too little. Either you're eating too much or you're eating too little. That we call poor eating habits or poor sleep pattern. Or you withdraw from everybody. Or you just feel that, what's the need? Why do I need to wake up tomorrow morning? That's what I start thinking about this suicide.
People have different coping mechanisms.
No, you have to devise. Yes, you have to devise coping mechanisms when you are feeling that way. When you feel...
When you say you have to, is it that you as a doctor, you advise that they do, or people just naturally devise...
No, you have to. If, for instance...
Because mine was alcohol, like I said.
Yes.
But that's not a good coping device.
Some people
an escape.
Get...
Yes, an escape.
You know, when you find some escape can be positive or negative. Yes. You can get into positive escape, get into drugs.
Like dancing. Okay.
Dancing is a positive one.
Okay, yes.
That is changing your lifestyle.
Charity. Get into charity.
Yeah, you know, changing your lifestyle. You want to go to the gym, you want to socialize with people. Yeah, you make a conscious effort to change your lifestyle. I want to go to, instead of staying alone. I know that I keep thinking about it.
If we did share some, because I know, for example, now, in recent times, I find that I just don't want to dress up to go out. It's not because I am
depression.
No, because I know.
No, she has mild depression.
Yes, because let me tell you why. I try to think about
going out.
No, that's different.
It depends on what's going on. If you are doing something that is different from what you used to do,
exactly.
That what I would gladly just dress up and go out. I just don't care. Yeah. I don't care about those, and I'm beginning to think that maybe it's menopause.
Remember the day I saw you in person? I said, I don't know.
You know, I don't care. I look like
no makeup at all.
Nothing. They're just like, you know. So I just realized that, you know,
no. If it's consistent, I mean, you might just wake up one morning and say, okay,
if I have to do that every day, so watch out.
For 3 months.
If you guys see me doing it for 3 months, please take me to
yes. Yeah, you do. But yes, if you wake up in the morning, sometimes you just wake up I don't feel like making up, don't feel like just, that's one of, that's normal. It's not a sign, it's not a sign. But if you wake up every day and they say, okay, this one, I saw you last week like this, I've seen you today, I've seen you like this for, a month, what's going on? You yourself, because it now becomes a problem for your family, your friends, they notice that something is wrong.
So you say we can why don't we notice before people kill themselves?
Because we don't know the symptoms of what to look out for.
In saying that, it was in the news recently that a young child, a teenager, took his life in school.
Because we don't expect that we have what we call childhood depression.
Yes, that was my next question. You say there's signs. So are your parents, friends, family supposed to investigate signs of just
They are supposed to be more observant. That's why we have family support. Yes. If I'm related, you are my friend, I should be able to notice that, what happened to you? Why are you not? I know.
That's Nigerians don't like talking. We don't like telling
we observe
things with people.
Because we're in denial. Or maybe when you even talk, a person will not believe you.
What do you mean by when you say we're ignorant? What do you mean?
We don't acknowledge the fact of depression in many ways. Okay. And so you're not looking out for the signs of something you don't even acknowledge. So, which is the reason I've been saying for a long time that we need a lot of psychiatrists and psychologists.
They have to seek us out.
Visible.
Do we have a local name for it? Do we have a local name for depression?
For depression,
we have a local name. I think it's just that we just think, what is in that one? That their word is complete. Your word is complete. So
yes, it's the village people.
Hungry, you will not be feeling sad. You will know you have to get up and go and look for something. And I'm being very serious about this because the truth is, a lot of people are depressed in this country.
Yes.
But we're not calling it depression because we don't acknowledge it. And even the person who is depressed denies that they have a right to be depressed.
Okay.
And will say, no, but
it's not me. It's not me.
No, God has given me this. I have a job. I have this. So why should I be? And then you get up and you do it. And I think it's very dangerous. Yeah. Because that's where you get to the end of the road. Yes. And there's nowhere else to go.
And the suicide is when you have gone to the last stage of depression.
I was going to say that because now there's an unspoken, it's not a law, but an unspoken law in Lagos that if you find someone at the side of the bridge and looks like he's going to jump, the police should arrest him. So, you see, take for instance, I'm depressed and I'm about to commit suicide. And then the police will fall upon you and lock you up. They'll lock you down. Isn't that making it worse?
It's making it worse. And to start, it's not only jumping off the bridge that people use to commit suicide. Taking medication, overdosing on something.
Yes.
Rat poison, everything.
Rat poison.
Yes.
I read somewhere that this depression thing can be hereditary.
Yes. So when we do assessment,
I'm happy and everything is going fine, and the next thing.
Yes. That's not my fault. When we do assessment, one of the questions we ask is, do you have a history? Not of depression, of mental health illness in your family. You will know.
How?
Most people will know. For instance,
so I can just be happy-go-lucky and because my forefathers have it. But it is possible that your grandmother was depressed.
Yes.
And there were times when she didn't like to see anybody and she didn't do anything and just said, that woman, she's just angry.
Yes. So they won't know the word for it, but they know that family, they have scoring, they have something in that family. They won't know.
You just called it a name.
Yes, it's your person.
Is it a behavior? Or is it a mental?
It's a mood.
It's a chemical imbalance.
It can be. When it's hereditary, then it runs in the family, then it's genetic, then it's
chemical in the brain.
Yes, hormonal imbalance or something. That's when you need medication to adjust that, not just psychotherapy. Yes. Okay. And then most people, when they now start taking medication, which clinical psychologists don't give medication, we just do talk therapy. The psychiatrists give medication. Most of the medication they take have side effects. And you find out that...
Hold on.
Sorry.
We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. So you were telling us that, people refer to it as all sorts of things.
Yes.
And it's something that can be treated.
The scoring.
The scoring.
But it's not scoring.
What's it called?
No, like a local...
It's a mental health disorder.
We say kilikili.
But it's
mental health.
It's derogatory.
Mental health.
I won't talk to you if you tell me
I have scoring.
If you can use words like scoring and
kilikili,
why will anybody say they are sad?
Exactly. I will just keep quiet.
Kilikili means that they're small something.
So the knot is loose. And it's not only for depression.
Sorry?
That's scoring or kilikili, whatever. Just refer to mental health disorder, okay? Not necessarily depression, because we have other mental health issues.
No, but can depression get to that level?
Yes. Can get to that level, and it becomes you have manic depressive. That's why you now have to give depressive medication. Okay?
I have this friend. I used to say to him, he was bipolar.
Yes.
I read up because he could be ecstatic one moment and so happy and everything. And then the
It
next
drops.
3 days,
It drops.
he would just
be
really sad.
Is that
then suddenly
bipolar? It's also a mood disorder. Depression is a mood disorder. Bipolar is a mood disorder. It's a mood disorder.
You're using these names sometimes. Some of us do. We don't know
schizophrenia.
No, schizophrenia is not mood. It's a mental disorder. It's like when you have distortions. You have distortions, maybe hallucinations. You have delusions of thoughts of perception. You perceive things differently from the norm.
From depression to schizophrenia.
Then you're having comorbid mental health. You're having
no, but I think the question here is that a lot of this is happening more in our society. We're just not giving it the right names. Because even in my own family, I have those issues. I mean, my mother, having experienced a marriage that wasn't the best there was, right, was never really happy, right? But by the time we all left home and mom was alone with dad, and I know many families that this happens, dad wasn't getting the kind of attention that he wanted. He couldn't really go around like he did. My father is passed now, God rest his soul. But what he did was that my mom wasn't giving him as much attention. He didn't understand. And she began to say, why are you bothering me? She was totally depressed. She was even at the point of where she was telling my father, if you come near me, I'm going to kill you. That's when we knew there was a problem. And we sought help. Do you understand what I mean? Of course we got help. We went to psychiatrists and helped her, but that's only to manage the situation. Okay, so what but the deep-seated resentments that you have in your system is enough to turn you into a depressive person.
So hers was resentment. What other things can cause depression?
Resentment. No, I just want to also talk about, she said it's rampant. Is it rampant now, or are we just more aware now? Have we always had it?
Social media has made a lot of things to come to the fore. We have always had this issue, but now there are issues going on, situations going on in the country that can make people get into depression. Okay? There is always a trigger. You can't just wake up and be depressed. Something caused it. Okay?
How is social media going to trigger this?
No one saying making you aware. You are more aware. Yes, you're known that this kind of thing exists.
She said resentment, deep-seated resentment, yes.
Something also causes resentment. You don't just resent someone. Something has caused it. Yes, that's something. The trigger. Okay. Yes, if you're in an abusive relationship, for instance, it can trigger depression. You can't help yourself. You just feel, why am I in this relationship? Why am I in this marriage, for instance? So you can just feel, let me go end it all. A depressed person just wants to end everything and stop the suffering. Some of them escape into substance abuse, just to escape, just to find that, have a euphoria that, okay, I'm not going through what I'm...
So like this codeine use now, this codeine has been banned
That's another thing.
What if a child, now you hear children are committing suicide, children are being treated for depression. What do they, what is it?
Yes,
bullying, exactly.
That's what we're talking about, the family support. When you observe, you know your child now comes back from school, and instead of wanting to play or wanting to watch cartoon, wanting to go to the playing ground, goes to his room or her room and sits down. A child that used to read maybe storybooks doesn't want to read anything. How are you? The child is withdrawn. We call it withdrawn to self, withdrawing to his or herself. You will know something is wrong because in school, either like you mentioned, bullying, or maybe then you ask some parents don't even go for parents-teachers meeting or something. They don't even go for the class thing that you talk to your teacher. So you won't know when the child is dropping in grades.
What kind of things can a child say to alert you to the fact that the child is depressed?
Nobody loves me. I'm not needed in this house.
We've always said that for years. Why is it now we are killing yourself because of that?
That's all talking about individual differences.
Oh, right.
Yes. Okay. I might say something like that. Mommy, you don't even love me. Just because maybe she bought sweets for the other child for me. Yeah, but when the child keeps saying it persistently.
Oh, okay.
You understand? Nobody loves me here. I'm not needed here. Let me just go and kill myself.
But
some people say, some people don't, but you have to observe because the mood, how does your mood affect your behavior? How does your mood affect your relationship?
I was going to say that I think that there's something that's happening in the middle class families.
Okay.
There's a lot of depression, and I think...
There's no middle class again in Nigeria.
Well, the little that is left.
Yes. I think that the middle class is providing too much for their children. Okay. And so the children don't grow up with that gut instinct to survive and to achieve something. Okay. No, there has to be something in you that's pushing you to do something. Okay. And if you provide everything for a child, again, let me use that word, you socialize the child out of survival.
Yes.
So they're in a world, no matter how comfortable you are in this world, you have to survive something. Because there are different people around who are not like you.
Yes.
So you have to survive the world in which you live. And if you socialize a child out of that survival instinct, which is what I think the middle class are doing.
So if you're pushing them too much, you're saying it could bounce, you have an adverse effect.
You're not allowing them to fall down and dust themselves up
and get up again. Okay.
You're doing everything for them. So what are they looking forward to doing? What is their ambition in life? To fill their time. They're going to be depressed, and to do something about that depression, they have the money to go into drugs. And they have the phones to do social media. It's an addiction. Social media is an addiction.
And there's also this poor communication pattern in families. A mother or father cannot even discuss with the child. The child cannot talk to the parents freely. So even when the child is going through certain things, the child cannot tell the parents.
That didn't start today.
Yeah.
In fact, it's even now that children are saying what they
so
like.
We have to change the narrative so the children can talk to us, tell us things.
I have always said that there's different parenting styles for different ages. And if you don't recognize when your child is signaling to you that I'm growing up and I have an opinion, you lose it.
At what age do you think
For me, my son indicated to me, because he'd be calling me from school and saying, so Mom, what's going on? And I'd be thinking, what's going on, please? However, I recognized that was what he was doing. He was trying to tell me that I'm getting to be an adult, 13, I'm asking what's going on. So I responded. And because of that, my younger son didn't have to do that. I recognized when that was coming, when he started having an opinion.
What's the same with you as well?
Well, what I do know, as you're talking about it, I think it's important at this point to also share again, because it's like, I have a bit of experience in this area. Now, I've raised, by the time my number 5 child, my number 5 child, 4 children had gone to school abroad. Then the 5th one went to school abroad, and he suffered depression. You know why? Because we found out that his vitamin D levels were very low. Vitamin D, now, when he did the test, because, why did I find out? Because I called him. And he says, look, Mama, I want to come home. I say, why? Where are you? He said, I am tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I say, what is it? Where are you? I'm in front of the pond. What are you trying to do? But of course, I said, okay, you know what you need to do? You must go to see a psychiatrist, because it's available in school. Now, this child goes, they do a test, they find out that actually his vitamin D levels were so low. It should be somewhere, the minimum he should have is 30, and this guy had 6. All the other children probably did, but it's because it was winter. But they survived. You know what I mean? But he couldn't survive because his personality is different. So he suffered depression. But I wouldn't have known if I didn't catch that. But parents must realize, we send our children abroad because there was no opportunity for them. We don't want children to go to school and be truncated. What the farmer said about the middle classes it's important. Yes. Most of our children who are going abroad, they are going to come back. They must have suffered some form of depression or the other. Because this guy's level, they increased the vitamin D intake, did everything, and all of that. But depression sets in. So if parents don't get involved and talk to their children, you're going to have a handful. It was a tough thing for us as a family. But we thank God that we had the information.
I think that because the middle class is pampered, it's a bit more difficult. It's like when I was talking about, when you're depressed and you're hungry and they're children. No, the children. You see, sometimes it doesn't click in because the hunger makes you look for the food, so you put the depression to one side. But you see,
remember it after you have eaten.
Honestly, because I think
the person who is going through that is not depressed.
Maybe there is mild depression.
Yeah, because
maybe it's mild.
The person is just hungry.
I don't think
that's frustrated. He's just sad.
You can't just can cause depression. The inability to provide for yourself, the inability to can make you depressed.
Yes.
And there's a lot of that now.
Are
we interchanging depression
for frustration?
It's a link. It causes depression.
It can lead to depression.
Why did you survive, Dion? I wonder.
Yes.
I had 2 sessions. I couldn't afford it. People can be pricey. Well, he taught me how to. The major thing that I was battling with was the feelings of being abused, taken advantage of. So I was angry. So he taught me how to turn that anger and throw it away. He said to me, I think he used the mild hypnosis. He said, close your eyes and think about the worst experience with your abuser. And then he said, my face contorted. And then he said, now wrap it up, put it in your hands and wrap it up into a ball. And he said, my hands clenched. And he said, now, think of it as a ball of fire. And I did this straight away. He said, that's how you get rid of it. You can't hold on to something, to your pain. So you have to let it go. So every time that happens, think about it as a ball of fire and let go.
Every time
so
that happens.
yes, so it helped. No, so it helped me. So every time I had to deal with that, I did that exercise. Yes.
That's a therapeutic technique. We call rational emotive therapy.
See, that's
we have
English.
Yes. We also have what we call cognitive behavioral therapy. You see, when you have a mood disorder, you have what we call cognitive distortions. You start saying things. Magnify them. By generalization, we have a lot of things like just seeing things in black or white. If I couldn't achieve this, then I'm a bad person. You don't have any middle ground. If I was good enough, he wouldn't have left me. You know, you don't say, maybe I'm too good for him, that's why he left me. You don't think that way. You always have negative thoughts. There's no positivity.
So we can't do mind over matter.
Yes.
And be trained in how to do it.
That's what I'm talking about.
This is the lounge. You know, if we keep going, we can keep going.
Don't tell me 30 minutes is off.
It's off already. So,
let's have our one-liners, please.
What can we do?
Exactly.
To
all of us.
All of us collectively.
One-liners.
Yes.
One-liner.
Maybe you should have the last word. Let's all have you. What's your last one?
I do not know about depression. I just like to be happy all the time.
Frustrated. I change my lifestyle. I just do differently. I think differently and do differently. That works for me.
I think keeping busy, sort of helps people. Just not thinking of, because keeping busy is better than taking drugs and drinking and all of that. You keep busy.
Well, I just say nothing lasts forever. I'm sad today, I'll be happy tomorrow.
One of the things that we should do when we think we are getting into that situation is to talk to the right person, okay? And what us that we are being spoken to, we should not be judgmental. Don't say, this person got over it. Now, this is a small thing that you cannot get over. No. Listen. Yes. We have empathy.
Real.
Yes.
And we have to deal with it, but collectively.
Yes.
Thank you for coming. It was nice having you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
What a beautiful lounge you have here.
Appreciate
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Sadness, melancholy, being hungry, and being depressed. It's a collective responsibility for us to identify it, talk about it, and get rid of it. Because it's happening more and more now. Thank you for joining us in the lounge.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Life can be fun and rewarding, but it also comes with some risk. As in business, you win some, you lose some. And that's why you need to be wise in the choices you make. It's like placing a bet. Again, you need to be wise. Wise in choosing an innovative platform with the highest market options and highest odds ever. That's why Winners Golden Bet, the leader in online, in-shop, virtual, and live sports betting, gives you enhanced platforms that offer you the best chances of winning. For betting on live soccer matches, live dog races, and virtual games, Winners Golden Bet is your best bet. Instant payment of winnings guaranteed. Play online or in any of our numerous shops nearest to you.
Hey guys, be wise. Play on Winners Golden Bet.
Winners Golden Bet, the wise choice.
Businesses in Africa can be very challenging. In Nigeria, it is particularly intimidating, and successful builders have learned how to navigate a hostile environment to unlock opportunities. But one major challenge businesses face is how to filter through the noise and identify where their ideal customers exist. Get insight and practical steps from industry players and captains of industries. Hear success stories to help you make informed decisions as you scale your business in Nigeria. Watch Business Insights at this time on Plus TV Africa.
On Plus TV News now. Council says Israel behind Ondo Catholic Church attack. INEC announces deadline for submission of list of presidential candidates running mates. 250,000 ghost names found on voters' roll in Kenya. Good evening, I am Olamide Adeyemi. This is the news now. The National Security Council has revealed that the Islamic State West African province ISWAP is the mastermind of the deadly attack on St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State. In an interview with State House correspondent, the Minister of Interior, Rauf Beshala, said security agencies are closing in on the perpetrators through their traces. According to him, the council is gravely concerned about spate of blasphemy-linked killings and has directed security agents to hunt those behind the killing of Deborah Samuel in Sokoto State and a more recent case in Abuja. He, however, noted that the police have arrested no one for the attacks since Sunday. President Muhammadu Buhari presided over the National Security Council meeting.
Quite concerned about the violent attack in Owo, Ondo State. I've been able to locate the perpetrators of that event, or that sad, horrendous attack. From all indications, we are zeroing in on ISWAP, the Islamic State for West Africa. It is not an ethno-religious thing. The animals in ISWAP wanting attention and recognition are suspected to have launched that attack. So let us all mobilize ourselves to, one, defeat the effort to pitch us against ourselves.
And the investigation is a process. It may not start today and end tomorrow. We are on the matter, and the matter will be looked into, both in terms of looking at whatever angle that will bring fruitful results to it. Community policing, like the Honorable Minister said, is an issue that has been adopted. It is a policy, it is a process too, in which the police is now giving back the community a lot of responsibility in terms of policing its own community. That is why you have community policing officers. So it is an issue that will require, just like I said, collaboration between members of the public and the police, or the paid agents.
Joining us on the news now tonight is Stan Labo, a security expert. Good to have you on the news tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Now, moving on to the Owo attack, the Nigerian government has said ISWAP is responsible for Ondo church killings, while the state governor came out earlier to say the perpetrators were Malians that were trained in Libya. At this point, what are Nigerians to believe?
Thank you so much. In the first place, to the ordinary Nigerian military, he is not really too bothered about all these positions. As far as the ordinary Nigerian military is concerned, is that, this attack either coming from Boko Haram or the bandits. So, the bulk of this division creations, I would say, of analysts and any who want to probably actually arrive at the definite group that may be responsible. Peter, as it may, we are all aware that banditry or the ongoing Boko Haram itself in Northeast is beginning to spread its tentacles. And if you are aware the way terrorists operate, yes, please. If you are aware the way terrorists operate, they operate in sleeper cells. And most of these cells, like we know, are already penetrating the hinterlands and the south, going down southward. So I will not be surprised to see such action emanating, be it whether from Israel or from whatever group. The point is that we are beginning to see enough signs that the ongoing situation of law is spreading down south, and it's a very disturbing development.
Now, till now, arrests are yet to be made. Now, do you see this issue being resolved quickly, especially for the aggrieved people in the Owo community?
Thank you to the question.
Yes, I said arrests are yet to be made. Do you see this being resolved quickly, especially for the aggrieved people in the Owo community?
Well, we only hope it's but the fact is that was there any immediate follow-up immediately took place? Like you are aware, we do not have what we call in the real sense quick reaction force, QRF. A QRF team is supposed to be on ground once things like this happen, max 10 minutes. But we always have a situation where security agents would arrive on ground 3 hours later, if not the next day. So it's unfortunate. We have to make sure we're able to build up standard QRF, okay, for nearly everything that could react to what situations. You have to get the what's it called, multimodal transport assets, which is required by this. They seem like the QRF thing. They need to have the relevant communication, and they must train and rehab with them. It is after this we will talk of whether we can resolve the issue. So when there was no follow-up, there are no evidence, this and that, how do you arrive at the problem? It's unfortunate. Government must address this problem.
Now, Colonel, to my next question. The Ekiti election is almost here, which is on the 18th of June this year, and we have so many issues with security in the country. Do you see this affecting turnout of voters during the election, even if security arrangements are made?
Of course, we know that security arrangements. The best I can say is that to ensure that this does not bring impact on voters' turnout at the elections, government has got to start doing some talking to the local communities of Ghana, reassuring them of actual, security, and letting them know that actually you'll be able to protect them. The bulk of the problem is that the citizenry in this country seems to have lost complete confidence in those who are governing over them. So it becomes more and more people trying to win the minds and hearts of the people on ground. The government has got to do this. People want to see huge turnout at elections.
Now, finally, my last question for tonight. Our women gathered today at the cathedral with leaves and knives cursing the perpetrators. How do you think the governments can calm the people in the community amidst this grief?
Reassurance. The governor himself is going to come out. Government officials must come out. All media institutions within the government service must be airing it out. The people must really be reassured, whatever it takes. And for those who are victims, government must move in and see how they are able to pay off people. Do a lot to reassure them that you are there to provide governance and that you will be there for them. This is the time to do it.
All right. Thank you so much for your contributions tonight, Colonel.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Moving on, the President Muhammadu Buhari will address the nation via a live broadcast at 7 a.m. on Sunday, the 12th of June. The Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, disclosed this in Abuja, where he detailed activities to mark this year's celebration. He listed some of the activities lined up for the Democracy Day celebration to include a public lecture at the National Mosque on Friday and Jumu'at prayers on the same date and venue. According to him, this will be followed by the President's address and a church service at the National Christian Center 3 p.m. on Sunday. There will also be a Democracy Day parade at the Eagle Square in Abuja on Monday morning. Meanwhile, the federal government has declared Monday, the 13th of June 2022 as a public holiday to mark this year's Democracy Day celebration. The Minister of Interior, Benny Rauf Aregbesola, congratulated Nigerians on the occasion and urged all to support the present administration and its efforts at ensuring a secured, united and prosperous nation. He admonished Nigerians to use the occasion to reflect on the long journey the country has made towards the enthronement of a civil democratic order. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has announced the 17th of June as the deadline for the submission of the list of the presidential candidates and their running mates by political parties. At a meeting with resident electoral commissioners, INEC also disclosed that a dedicated portal for the submission of the list of candidates for national elections will automatically shut down at 6 p.m. on Friday. However, governorship and House of Assembly elections, the list of candidates will be uploaded from the 1st to 15th July 2022. The governor of Ekiti State and one of the presidential aspirants in the just concluded All Progressive Congress primary election, APC, Kayode Fayemi, received a heroic welcome from party faithfuls. Addressing supporters, Fayemi said the unity of the country was a major consideration for him and taking the decision to step down for Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, whom he described as a leader, mentor, a great fighter for democracy and the nation. Governor Fayemi said the electoral victory of the party's candidate, Tinubu, will start from the success of the party and the forthcoming governorship election in the state.
Before we went into the convention, the story was that APC will collapse. We will come out of the convention in smithereens. Everything will go haywire. But we have proved the pundits wrong. We have come out of our convention stronger. We have come out of our convention victorious. We have come out of our convention consolidated. We have come out of our convention energized to ensure that the poverty development party will not come back, either in Ekiti State or in Nigeria. And all other pretenders to the throne who are running helter-skelter, pretending that they have what it takes to govern, they will meet their Waterloo right from June.
Solomon Okagbo has emerged the Action Alliance presidential candidate after securing 68 votes at the party's presidential primaries to win the party ticket. Okagbo was declared winner of the primary by the returning officer. Solomon presidential candidate Action Alliance on a spot. The national chairman of the party, Adekunle Omwaje, appealed to all members to work in line with the vision of the party in order to take over leadership at the central government.
The presidential primary election is a family affair. Please let the delegates orderly choose our bearer for us. As we go to Afro to change the narrative of our national life, I believe the eventual winner will be magnanimous in victory. Do not be disturbed or worried about the laughable and the cross judgment of the National Think Tank Committee of this party. I declare Solomon
for the security.
we need to train and train them so that towards standard level. Thereby equipping them also. Then we need to improve their benefits and welfare. For them to be moral, for them to function effectively. We are not deviating from the hydro. We are complementing on hydro with solar and wind energy. If you observe, in the north we have so much sun. So we can impute solar in the north, while in the south we can make use of.
The Labour Party in Ogun State has elected a former Commissioner for Finance in the state, Kehinde Shogule, as the governorship candidate of the party. Two aspirants are jostling for the ticket, but Kehinde Shogule marched through voice affirmation by members of the party during the primary election. He promised to deliver the dividends of democracy to the people if elected as the next governor of the state.
There's a rumor going around that there is substitution of names in Abuja, that the name wants to be replaced by another person. After we've had our primary election that was free and fair. So we want to plead to the national chairman of our party, the person of Rosha Ayu, and the state chairman of our great party, that they should maintain their good wills and their good names. Our candidate is ready to serve the people of Jebu North, Jebu East, and Ogun Waterside Federal Constituency. Please and please, no name should be substituted. We are always fight for our mandate. Kenny Bello is our mandate.
Meanwhile, a concerned group from Ogun East Senatorial District has expressed displeasure over an alleged plan by the national body of the People's Democratic Party to substitute the name of the winner of the Jebu North, Jebu East, and Ogun Waterside Federal Constituency primaries won by Kenny Bello. The group lamented their displeasure during a protest in Abeokuta, the state capital. It said it was unfortunate that the party could think of substituting the names of the winners of a primary election, noting that the winner emerged through the due process. A cross-section of youths in Benin City, the Edo State capital, wants the electoral body to increase the number of registration centers for permanent voters card in the state to enable citizens to register, get their PVCs and exercise their franchise in the forthcoming general elections in the country. Go Register NG took their campaign to the Edo State chapter of the Nigerian Union of Journalists.
If your vote does not count. So we are appealing to the Nigerian Edo State chapter to help us tell the Edo people to come out and register. To come out and register. Don't say we did not tell you. This house and register because your vote counts. This is the message we bring to the NUJ House today. For us to amplify this, the need, especially for Edo and some South states, to improve registry outlets for more young people to register. Right now at Oba Market, when we went there today, they are clamoring for a registry point there. So we are appealing to INEC Abuja to send in more equipment to enable INEC Edo improve on their registration drive.
Go out viral, go out to the general public for more information. We'll do our best to also let the world know and let the Nigerians know what you guys are.
The Rule of Law and Accountability Center, RULAC, says effective police accountability is key to bridging the gap between the force and the people. The executive director, Okechukwu Nwaguma, said this at a stakeholders police accountability forum. Nwaguma, who spoke on the state of human rights and police accountability, said violations still occur since the NSAS protest, hence the need for more engagement of the police with civil societies and the community. The National Human Rights Commission also corroborated this position.
A lot of controversy arose, and as we speak,
nothing much has been done in terms of implementing the white paper on that, panel. And from our experience as human rights monitors, we keep receiving complaints of human rights violations from, victims of human rights violation. And our experience is also that unless some of these cases are publicized, the police don't seem to, feel compelled to take action. So issues of accountability remains challenging. So we think that not much has improved in terms of human rights violation in Lagos State.
There is no how we can do community policing without the community engagement. And there's no how we can send policemen on duty without holding them accountable for whatever action they take in the course of their duty. So certainly this engagement is very, very important. In fact, National Human Rights Commission, we have only one office in Lagos, but we have CSOs who are spread all over the state, who also work in collaboration with the commission. We cannot be everywhere, you understand? But they are always at the field to bring information. So certainly there is need for the police to actually engage every CSOs from the grassroots even to the state level.
Nwaguma explained that the forum is determined to sustain the tempo to ensuring effective engagement with the police.
We think that it's important that the police needs to be up and doing, make accountability a priority, because it is said that you can't be talking about community policing or democratic policing when accountability is lacking. So that is important for the police to note and to see the importance of engaging, because civil society organizations live with community members and they understand their challenges and they're able to, act as a bridge between the community they represent and the police, and this has helped to address a lot of.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Navy has handed over 463 bags of cannabis sativa, also known as marijuana, worth 500 million naira. The interception was during a routine patrol to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. The commander of Nigerian Navy Ship Baycroft, Commodore Malami Aruna, handed over the seized drugs to NDLEA's commander on narcotics, Isaac Oza, at NNS Baycroft, Apapa, Lagos.
Hard drugs will be handed. Though the suspects are at large, efforts are being made to apprehend them. However, the boat laden with the contraband was towed to the base for further investigation. Our investigations revealed that the boat was loaded with about 463 large sacks of compressed marijuana worth more than 500 million naira in local market, amongst other items. The hard drugs will be handed over to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency today, in line with extant regulations for the arrest and handover of suspects and evidence to appropriate agencies. The prevention of such large quantity of hard drugs from entering the Nigerian society will serve to reduce drug intake that lead our youth towards committing crimes in the society.
On behalf of the Chairman Chief Executive of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, I, Isaac Uza, the Commander, NDLEA Marine, hereby receive these handed over drugs from the Nigerian Navy, NS. Thank you. Our gathering today is another milestone in our relationship, in our collaboration with the Nigerian Navy. As you can see, the Nigerian Navy is one of the agencies of government that are supporting the war against transnational crime, especially drug trafficking. You know, the maritime domain is not only large, it's complex, it's challenging, But despite those challenges, you can see the Nigerian Navy is living up to expectation.
Now, the chief imam in Owo, Ondo State, Ahmad Alade Shawe, has reached out to the community and Christians to build bridges. Two of the imam's Christian relatives were wounded, one in the leg and one in the back, when gunmen used explosives and opened fire on worshippers. The imam visited the church to hand over a donation collected by the town's Muslim community.
I tried to speak to my people, because the incident that happened has scared away many of them from worshiping in the mosque. What happened in Owo was least expected. Nobody ever expected it. Nigeria as a whole, when you talk of security, there is no security in the country.
Still on the Owo attack, Theresa Ugbu took 2 of her 5 sons to celebrate Pentecost at a church in the Nigerian town Owo. Only the boys returned. Details on this report.
Brother escaped after gunmen opened fire during Mass. But Teresa's body was discovered later, lying in a pool of blood in a church aisle. Benedict Ogbu, a farmer, is now a single father of 5.
I miss her seriously. It's just like somebody have 2 hands and they cut one hand. Something that the 2 hand is now carry. You try to use one hand to carry it. In fact, it's very heavy now if I think of it.
The motive behind the attack on the St. Francis Catholic Church is as yet unexplained. The identities of the assailants not revealed. Officials say 22 people were killed and 50 injured.
How it happened.
But those figures don't include all the victims, like a husband trying to hold his family together, or children left without a mother.
You do not have to be hard on yourself or be ashamed. Rather, speak out and get help so that the perpetrators can be brought to justice. This was the submission of inductees of the 2021-22 report Women Female Reporters Leadership Program, FRLP program, held in Lagos. Plus TV correspondent Love Ikuku Oyedeko tells us more in this report. We'll bring you more details later. Moving on, the federal government has been urged to include gender studies in the academic curriculum from primary school up to tertiary level. Making the call during a sensitization on gender-based violence, the principal of Government Girls Secondary School, Yola, Rifkatu Magaji, said the call has become imperative in view of the rising cases of sexual and gender-based violence in the country. The program was organized by the Sultan Foundation for Peace and Development with support from the Spotlight Initiative. Moving on, the Health of Mother Earth Foundation says the 2022 World Environment Day should be dedicated to people at the grassroots whose lives and livelihoods have been impacted by neo-colonial and extractive forces that exploit and harm nature. The reports.
World Environmental Day is celebrated on the 5th of June every year to raise global awareness and take positive action to protect nature and the planet Earth. It is a day that reminds everyone of the need to get involved in environment-friendly activities. Speaking on the theme for this year, Only One Earth, an environmentalist and director of Health of Mother Earth Foundation, Nimo Basi, said it highlights the need to create changes in policies and choices for people to live in harmony with nature.
When you subtract from nature and not add anything and not have a sense of stewardship, a sense of responsibility, you only look at how you can transform what you've extracted so as to make things you believe enhance your well-being. This kind of makes humans go numb. Political forces keep on arguing that unless you extract and burn fossils, humans cannot make progress. Now, what is progress if we're killing ourselves? What is progress if the soil that I have to grow crops is polluted to a depth of 5 meters, a depth of 10 meters? What is progress if the water that I have to drink is laced with benzene 900 times above World Health Organization standard?
Bassey stated that human beings must wake up from the futile dream that the earth can be recklessly exploited without dire consequences. He regretted that at this time, when the need to check exploitation of natural ecosystems and wasteful consumption is critical, the world is rather investing in militarization, warfare, and destruction.
Having ecocide as an international crime has global implications, because the destruction of the environment in one location does not restrict the impact of that action to that location.
Also speaking on the Ogoni cleanup, the director of Youth and Environmental Advocacy Center, Fineface Domnamene, called on contractors of hydrocarbon pollution and remediation project handling the Ogoni cleanup and water projects to speed up the processes.
The cleanup, for which we think will be concluded within 25 years, if the current pace is being maintained, then in 50 years we may not have the Ogoni cleanup, completed. So I call on HYPREP as a matter of urgency to expedite action on the environmental cleanup of Ogoni area.
Environmentalists called on people of the Niger Delta and the country at large, especially youths involved in artisanal refining activities, to embrace renewable energy and channel their efforts towards things that contribute to local and global environmental sustainability.
Now back to the reports. The federal government has been urged to include gender studies in the academic curriculum from primary school up to tertiary level, making the call during the sensitization on gender-based violence. The principal of Government Girls Secondary School, Yola Magaji, said the call has become imperative in view of the rising cases of sexual and gender-based violence in the country. The program was organized by the Sultan Foundation for Peace and Development with support from the Spotlight Initiative. The reports.
Is a sensitization program on gender-based violence in Yola, Adamawa State. The principal of Government Girls Secondary School was represented by Gilando Johanna Kwem, a teacher in the school. The principal promised to step down the knowledge learned to other students of the school.
The government should do something to include this issue of gender-based. As for me, if you ask me, I would even prefer that the government should include at least gender studies from primary school, secondary, that is junior secondary school and senior secondary school. It will go a long way in curtailing this issue of gender-based violence. And then thirdly, our legal system should be able to find a way of not only hearing, but they should be able to find stringent measure of punishing gender-based violence.
He called on the authorities to ensure stringent punishments on perpetrators of gender-based violence as they constitute a menace to the society. Also speaking, Amina Mohammed Ali, the program assistant of the foundation in Adamawa State, noted that the aim of the project is to work with relevant stakeholders, including traditional religious and youth leaders, to end the menace which has become rampant over the years.
What we are trying to do is that in this second phase we are going to engage girls and boys in secondary schools and also boys in tertiary institutions to see how we can bring a shift in the social and gender norms or gender stereotyping with regards to women and girls, so that the girl child or the woman is allowed to, how will I say it, obtain her full potential in life and her livelihood so that she can be a better person for herself and the society.
She called on the general public, especially parents, not to hesitate in reporting any form of gender-based violence, noting that the lethargic disposition of communities towards such cases makes perpetrators to be emboldened to commit more of such atrocities in the future. Some of the students spoke on gender-based violence, noting that they were positively impacted by the knowledge acquired. They vowed to be good ambassadors of the campaign against any form of gender-based violence, as it is inimical to the well-being of those affected.
Girl child and women are being violated because they said they are the weaker sex. Like they said we have harmful traditional practice like harmful female circumcision.
Even though we learn in order to help the future generation, it won't work properly because actions are not being taken. So the rape will keep increasing and things are not going to move further. So I just suggest that they should do something.
Also speaking, the representatives of the National Human Rights Commission, Fatima Mandara, urged the schoolgirls not to hesitate in reporting any form of sexual-based violence to the authorities, adding that our organization is always ready to receive and act on any form of human rights violation.
If violated, we should report it to our office. You understand?
Reactions have continued to trail the margins of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu as the presidential flag bearer of the All Progressive Congress. That's on Street Views. Take a listen.
I'm not happy at all because the way this country is going now, we need a vibrant young man, somebody that have something to move this country to the next level. Atiku Abubakar, I believe he will clinch the ticket of presidency because he comes from North where they always come with block vote. And I believe his people, all his people will vote for him.
I tell you that I'm very, very happy. I'm from Adamawa State. And the opposition of the Tinubu is from Adamawa State. That's Atiku Abubakar. And I don't have anything that Atiku bring to Adamawa State when he was a vice president. And talk less of he want to become a president. So I prepare Tinubu more than Atiku. I have 80% assurance Tinubu will win this election. I don't think there is any doubt.
Actually, I'm partially happy. This is why I say I'm partially happy is that it's this set of people that are doing it. Not that he's not a good person or not, but is he going to stay on his word? Is he going to create employment? Look at Lagos now, transport, fighting, everything, and then that's not the issue. Chances against Abubakar is like, let me just say, 30-70. I give him 30 and I give Atiku 70.
I'm happy because there's nobody that can match Atiku in that APC caucus. And if they place Tinubu and Atiku side by side, I will prefer Tinubu. He has affected so many lives. That is it.
To tell you the truth, I've not been happy ever since I heard that, to tell you the truth, because these same guys have been the people ruling over us. They've ruled our fathers. They deceived us the last time. Right now, I don't really know who to pick, but my mind goes for Peter Obi.
Let's give it to Tinubu. Atiku has no chance. He has no chance. I'm telling you. When it comes to politics, playing politics, intellect, give it to Tinubu.
I hope so. I know so. And I believe so.
Okay, why?
Why? Because he has plans. And he's been working on it. He has plans, and when you have a plan, then you'll be focused. He's a focused Nigerian, and he has done so much. But people, they misunderstand him.
This is the time for him to prove his popularity this time around, because he's contesting with the giant. The other one he did is a domestic election. This one is general. After that, what we now know, Atiku is very powerful. I can see it's only Atiku that is powerful. Kwakwaso and Obi, no.
Still ahead, UK Foreign Minister condemns death sentences on Britons. Details when we return. And now to other parts of Africa, an ongoing audit of Kenya's voters' roll has found the names of about 250,000 deceased on the register, according to Kenya's electoral agency. Also, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission disclosed that about 500,000 more voters were found to have duplicated records and more than 226,000 people registered using documents that do not belong to them. The commission had earlier said that it will publish the registers of voters on or before the 9th of June, but has rescheduled that to the 20th of June as it seeks to address the findings by KPMG, the firm contracted to do the audit. This year's elections will be held on the 9th of August. In Senegal, the We Ask and Wait coalition is mounting pressure on the APR party of President Macky Sall and its coalition. Thousands of supporters of the opposition leader Ousmane Sonko demonstrated in Dakar. The protest came after the Constitutional Council rejected the national list of We Ask and We led by Sonko's party. They denounced what they called maneuvers by the president to politically eliminate his opponents. Belgium's King Philip has expressed his deepest regrets for his nation's abuses in its former colony, the Democratic Republic of Congo. During a speech on his first official trip to the country, he said that the Belgian colonial rule had been unjustifiable and racist. His speech came 2 years after he made similar comments on the 60th anniversary of Congo's independence. Now, the Portuguese language is facing yet another challenge in one of its most important bastions, Guinea-Bissau. Some people say they are being discriminated against as employers in the country are publishing job adverts in French or English to the detriment of Portuguese speakers. Portuguese is Guinea-Bissau's official language, but the country is bordered by English-speaking Gambia to the north and French-speaking Guinea and Senegal. Guinea-Bissau is the only Portuguese-speaking enclave in West Africa where French and English dominates. And our week-long strike by Tunisian lawyers is continuing. Judges held a protest outside the capital court denouncing last week's decision by President Kais Saied to dismiss 57 judges. In a televised address on the 1st of June, President Saied removed judges accusing them of corruption, sexual harassment, as well as protecting terrorists. Since then, courtrooms across the North African country have been closed. And outside Africa, two Britons and a Moroccan who were captured while fighting for Ukraine have been sentenced to death by a court in the self-proclaimed Donetsk People Republic, one of Russia's proxies in eastern Ukraine. The court found the 3 men guilty of mercenary activities and committing actions aimed at seizing power and overthrowing the constitutional order of the DPR. Their lawyers said they will appeal the decision. In a reaction, British politicians condemned the death sentences passed down to 2 Britons as the British Foreign Minister Liz Truss called the sentencing a sham judgment, while Robert Jenrick, who represents the constituency of one of the men, said it was an egregious breach of international law.
This is the most egregious breach of international law, and these individuals need to be released immediately and return to their families. You cannot treat British citizens in this manner and get away with it. This is a Soviet-era show trial, and these British citizens are now being apparently sentenced to death. This is just the latest disgusting act by Vladimir Putin's regime and his affiliates. What we need now is the Russian authorities to release these individuals. There was an appalling TV program last night on Russian television in which presenters debated how these individuals should be executed. This, I think, just shows the depravity of Putin's regime, that this could be on prime time Russian television. If, however, he thinks that this is going to put pressure on us to change course, he's mistaken. What we need now is the Russian ambassador to provide assurances that these individuals will be treated in accordance with international law and in due course will be returned home.
The United Nations General Assembly has elected Ecuador, Japan, Malta, Mozambique and Switzerland to the UN Security Council for a 2-year term starting on the 1st of January 2023. All 5 countries ran unopposed for a spot on the 15-member body, which is charged with maintaining international peace and security. They will replace India, Ireland, Kenya, Mexico and Norway. The Security Council is the only UN body that can make legally binding decisions like imposing sanctions and authorizing use of force. It has 5 permanent veto-wielding members: the United States, Britain, France, China and Russia. Human rights groups said they had submitted papers at the High Court in London today to get an injunction to halt next week's planned deportation of asylum seekers from Britain to Rwanda, a scheme that has drawn widespread criticism. Britain's government announced in April it had struck a deal to send potentially tens of thousands of asylum seekers to Rwanda in a bid to undermine people's smuggling networks and stem the flow of migrants risking their lives by crossing the channel in small boats from Europe. The first flight taking the migrants to Rwanda is expected next week.
That the policy might not in fact be lawful, that it might contravene international refugee law and human rights law. And we think it's very important that the case is heard and this is properly determined before anyone is sent to Rwanda.
Also, there have been more than 1,000 monkeypox cases reported to the World Health Organization and the current outbreak outside the countries in Africa where it more commonly spreads. The WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus said the risk of monkeypox becoming established in these non-endemic countries was real but preventable at this point. 29 countries have reported cases in the current outbreak, which began in May. None has reported deaths.
More than 1,000 confirmed cases of monkeypox have now been reported to WHO from 29 countries that are not endemic for the disease. So far, no deaths have been reported in these countries. Cases have been reported mainly, but not only, among men who have sex with men. Some countries are now beginning to report cases of apparent community transmission, including some cases in women. The risk of monkeypox becoming established in non-endemic countries is real. WHO is particularly concerned about the risks of this virus for vulnerable groups, including children and pregnant women.
Up next, NNPC to pay 874 billion naira in June as fuel subsidy hits 1.82 trillion naira. That's some business news after the short break. Welcome to Business News. I am Khadijat Balogun. Nigeria's total debt stock rose to 41.6 trillion naira in the first quarter of 2022, representing a 2.05 trillion naira increase compared to 39.56 trillion naira recorded as of December last year. In dollar terms, Nigeria's debt stock rose to $100.1 billion. Similarly, Nigeria's debt to GDP ratio rose to 23.27% in the first quarter of the year, compared to 22.47% as of December 2022. While this is lower than the self-imposed limit of 40%, the rate is quickening faster due to increased borrowing and tepid economic growth. This is contained in the quarterly public debt portfolio report released by the Debt Management Office, DMO. According to the agency, Nigeria's total public debt stock includes new domestic borrowings by the federal government, which was used to partly finance the 2022 budget deficit. Manufacturing companies say they cannot access loans at the Central Bank of Nigeria's 5% lending rate under its intervention scheme for manufacturing and other critical sectors. According to them, the loans have structural framework problems and are almost never accessed in banks at 5%. They added that banks were more open to giving manufacturer loans at their official market rates. Chairman of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria's Electrical Electronic Sectoral Group, Ijoma Odoye, said efforts made by a firm towards accessing the intervention funds through one of its designated commercial banks had proved abortive. Operators in the oil and gas sector, as well as other stakeholders, are uncomfortable with the continued rise in the amount spent in subsidizing premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, has a jump to 947.51 billion naira between January and April 2022. An analysis of data obtained from the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited on a Wednesday showed a monthly rise in PMS subsidy spendings by the oil firm, though NNPC described it as under-recovery value shortfall. It was also gathered that the oil firm had informed the Federation Account Allocation Committee that it would deduct an estimated value shortfall of 874.5 billion naira in the May 2022 proceed due for sharing at the June 2022 FAC meeting. NNPC has been the sole importer of petrol into Nigeria for several years running. The firm has also been subsidizing the commodity all these years. And that's it in business news. The news continues. And the main news again. INEC announces deadline for submission of list of presidential candidates running mates. 250,000 ghost names found on voters' roll in Kenya. And that's the news now. For more stories, please follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. I am Olamide Adeyemi. Many thanks for watching.
There is no voting on social media. To vote, you would require a permanent voter's card. To get your PVC, visit cvr.inecnigeria.org. Create your account with a valid email address and start the registration process. An activation link will be sent to you. Click on the link and activate your account. Fill out the form, pick and submit a convenient date and time for your biometrics. Print the application slip, which should have your QR code. On the appointed date, go to the nearest INEC office for your biometric capturing. Thereafter, you will get a registration slip to pick your permanent voter's card when ready. Get your PVC today. This message is from Plus TV Africa.
This is it for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Hi guys, welcome back to Tea Time. It is obviously a beautiful Thursday morning right here in the studio. And you know how we do it, we bring you the vibes, intellectual conversations, dope narrations, analysis and dissections of course. And you know I definitely would not be doing this alone. It's a roundtable of course. With me today is an amazing gentleman. Let's give it up for Sugar.
Hey, Lagos, what's up? What's good?
Good.
You put it on black, yeah.
Yes.
And match made up Plus TV.
And I think I like it because everybody's always like, too much black. But trust me, there can never be too much black for me.
I tell you, black is beautiful. Black is bold.
Yes, very beautiful. And you know, you can join the conversation by calling in on 09098408408 to share opinions on our discussions today. Obviously, it's Throwback Thursday. And you know how we do it? We always bring you amazing throwback videos from amazing music stars who have done so well in the past. And this is the first throwback video. Take it away.
Yeah, you are my African queen. Ooh, Lord, just like the sun, light up the earth, you light up my life. The only one I ever see with a smile so bright. And just yesterday, you came around my way. My horse in way with your astonishing beauty. Oh, you couldn't make a brother sing. No ordinary thing, a supernatural